and honor to the living Alahym in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. You pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. I search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you would not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Alahym only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All praises be to the living Alahym in the name of his own begotten son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's get it rocking and rolling in Psalm 51. Now let the Lord be his name. I won't read the whole chapter down like I did the last time. I'm going to get on straight on to the point because we're going down verse by verse anyway. Come down here to about verse 6 if you would. We'll be returning to verse 2 for our continuation from where we stopped at. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts and in the hidden. You shall make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Shalom, bro. Amen. Make me to hear the joy and gladness. The bones you have broken may rejoice. Hide your face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Creating me a clean heart, O Alahym, and renewing me a right ruach. Let's go right back up to Psalms 51 and 1. Psalm 51 and 1. Have mercy upon me, O Alahym, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies. Blot out my transgressions and wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. Let's return back to Isaiah chapter 1, because that's where we start at. If you recall, we were talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. You know about Sodom and Gomorrah, little muffin? Yeah, you don't want to know about Sodom and Gomorrah. Them were some weird people. They like to do some weird things. You know what a sodomite is? That's a man who likes to play with another man's rectum. You know what a rectum is? Your poop chute. Yes. Come on over here to 1 and 11 one more time. I know we read it the other day, though. Isaiah 1 and 11. Oh, I forgot. He put the notes right on the back of the bottle. This thing says, do not spray directly on fabric. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith Yahuwah? I am full of burnt offerings of rams, of fat of fed beasts. I delight not in the blood of bullocks, of lamb, or of he-goats. When you came to appear before me, who have required this at your hand to tread my course? Now forgive me, because to tread my course has escaped my mind at this particular moment. And I got something to mention. Somebody mentioned in Proverbs 11:16, and I'm going to go ahead and work that in here this evening. Not because he said anything egregious, just because we just going to take a different track with it. And of course, you're looking at tread, right? That's to trample, to tread down, to stamp on. Who told you to come running up here to bring this to my house? When you look at courts, right, y'all should know what that is, right? That's Katsar, court, enclosure, settlement, abode. He's telling you who told you to come trample my house or run my house down with these sacrifices that I did not ask you for, nor do I care about. Y'all know what Jeremiah 7 say, but let's come over here to Hebrews. I'm trying to see Peter pistol letters in my mind along with this one here. I don't even know if I want to use Hebrew, but we can go and get this Peter for now. 1 Peter chapter 2. I'm sorry, 1 Peter chapter 1. That's my bad. 1 Peter chapter 1. You can make it verse 13. See, some of y'all know I put the junk in the chat, and that junk was hilarious to me. Not because who he was picking on, because he has an utter disdain for that man, and I understand why he has it from his vantage point and perspective. I can't knock him for that, from that avenue of where he's coming from. But it was a particular point that was made. It was 2 points actually, but one point is this, and this is what I done told y'all before. A lot of times you thinking when we mention certain stuff that we talking about the men, the women, when we're really referring to the men, just using the woman as the backdrop, as the description of how the house of Yasharal behaves towards her husband. Because one of the biggest problems that a lot of these men in this present generation have is they complain about what women don't do. Like, who cares what she won't do? You can't, and the reason why I say that is because in life, you can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. It just has to be consequences if they don't do it, but you have to have power and leverage in order to enforce those consequences. It has to be something that they would lose. You know what I'm talking about? See, because I just seen some junk and dudes would be going. See, people go back and forth and say the dumbest things because it sounds good to them. See, like the latest thing that these people are arguing about is, why do men care about a woman's body count? Like, if you have to ask that out loud, you're a jackass. You know what I'm talking about? If you even have to ask, why does it matter? That tells me that you're probably a whore. Your mother probably was a whore. You know what I'm talking about? And you're just trying to justify that. Because there's a multitude of reasons of why that's important from the standpoint of a man. Of course, a woman wouldn't want it to be important to you because it decreases her value. She knows that makes her lesser. See, the reason why I mentioned it is, see, with you don't have that problem. But see, also there's a problem when it comes with whoredom. See, when it comes with whoredom, you may have an itching to go back and whore. So you're mentioning this here because you have many, because we didn't even get into Ezekiel 16 as in-depthly as certainly can be done. This is why I'm mentioning this here. Because in Ezekiel 16, see, let me go ahead and ask y'all this here. See who's on this chat right now who can remember who was referred to as Sodom in Ezekiel 16. You tell me, who was referred to as Sodom in Ezekiel 16? Oh, no. Israel was not referred to as Sodom in Ezekiel 16. Who can tell me who was referred to as Sodom? Yes, sir. Judah was referred to as Sodom in Ezekiel 16. And it said not only, you know what I'm talking about, was it referring to going after strange flesh. See, let's take a look. See, pause. Before I even read 1 Peter chapter 1. Come back over here to Ezekiel 16 and look at what was stated. Ezekiel 16. I'm going to be generous. You know what? Hold this. Shalom, man. Get Ezekiel 16 and 43. Let me read this 1 Peter chapter 1, because we've been got off to the point that I even came around there for will be forgotten. So just hold your Ezekiel 16 and 43. But let's get this 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13 out of the way. Other things that like this, right? Yahuwah never once complained about Yasharal being a whore. The only time he came to Yasharal about being a whore was directly to her face. He never complained about what this woman wasn't doing because he had leverage. See, a lot of dudes feel like, oh, if you got money, a woman will just comply. See, you can still be a sucker and have money. Money doesn't make you automatically respected, but it gives you leverage. And it's not even the money, it's the power. See, most men don't want no power. And to want power, that means you have to want something out of your life. You know what I'm saying? You have to want to be great. You have to have a desire to do great things. See, the thing that I noticed with a lot of these dudes online, and I had a conversation with a dude, I think I told y'all about that, and I told him that, like, women are hardwired to want to be with a great man. This is something that I recognize at an early age. And I recognize and seeing, like, why do these pastors keep knocking these women down? Why do they keep having sex with them? Why does this happen all the time? This woman perceives this man to have power. That's what they're attracted to. You know what I'm talking about? Women are not attracted to average and weak that doesn't do anything for them because of psychologically. They're looking at it as my survival is not going to be secure. You know what I'm saying? This is simple human biology. This has always been the case. You know what I'm saying? But you got a bunch of hoe niggas, a bunch of weak men, a bunch of men who were raised by their mammy who resent their mama because their daddy wasn't there to help them and save them and guide them in any shape, form, or fashion. And you take this resentment out on the women who would not give you what you wanted because you wanted them to love you like your mama may have or may not have. And that's your problem. You know what I'm talking about? And you're expecting her to trust you with her survival, and you are a less than optimal man. You know what I'm talking about? And instead of saying, let me optimize myself, not for the purpose of getting a woman, but for my own optimization, for my own elevation, for my own greatness, you're complaining and saying you should take less. And then some of these dudes wonder why men who have more got 2, 3, 4 women who cool with that. You know what I'm talking about? Because she said, I would rather just share this dude, you know what I'm talking about, than to be broke with you. And see, that bothers dudes. You know what I'm talking about? Because you mad at him because he took the time to make himself be whatever he made himself into be. Why is that important? Because when you look at the difference, of course, when it comes down to it, and you see what Satan's going to work through his son versus what Alahym is going to work through his son, you're going to see that same type of difference. That you're going to see some people who are going to look at how this man going to be killing people. And they say, I'd rather go over here and dwell in Sodom because I'm going to have more power over here. It's going to look like he ain't got nothing. Why would I want to secure my life with him? You know what I'm saying? Those who have understanding can say, of course I know my life is secure with Yahuwah. That's why I keep mentioning y'all in the past that submission is about trust. No one is submitting to someone they don't trust. That's not happening. And if she doesn't trust you, she doesn't love you. Because if she doesn't trust you, she can't respect you. And if she doesn't respect you, she doesn't love you. See, we had this conversation the other day. I had this conversation with a couple of my employees. And I was telling them that it's impossible. You can say what you want to. You may have love for them. You may care for them. But if there's no respect and there's no trust, there is no love. Yahuwah has laid that out plainly, that is what is necessary in order to love him. You know what I'm saying? So you're not going to tell me, which my employee, when I told him that's my perspective, he said, yeah, I see where you're coming from. You know what I'm talking about? See, we're looking at the aspect that you will bump your feelings and your thoughts and opinions. That's one of the biggest problems in this country, in this world period. A girl I know who a teacher, she said she talked to her students about what was going on in the Ukraine. And she was like, kids have opinions. Their opinions matter. No, they don't. Your opinion doesn't. See, when you don't have any facts, if you don't have any information, if you don't have anything of substance, all you have is opinions. And your opinions are nothing but your own thoughts and feelings. Who gives a damn about your own thoughts and feelings? You know what I'm saying? That's when you get to the point of, why do you care about the thoughts and opinions of others? You know what I'm talking about? Unless it's somebody whose opinion you value. You know what I'm talking about? By the way, man, if you're on here, go ahead and hit the like button for me now so we can pop up in this algorithm, because you know this dope we selling, this ain't regular work. You know what I'm talking about? You got to sit back and think about that, though. Hey, your junk coming through the speaker. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that. You got to think about that in all areas. The reason why I've always mentioned stuff through things in life that you can, because you can understand and see it through life. Whether it's your interaction between a man and a woman, an interaction with a child, an interaction with a friend. Yahuwah uses all the same imagery. It's all the same. You can relate to it. You can understand it. It's very simple to understand. You know what I'm talking about? When you sit back and you see how these people operate, see, let's put it to you this way, right? And you can see the same token with Yasharal, which made it difficult for her to cleave to Yahuwah. A woman who done had sex with a lot of men, she's going to have psychological and mental problems. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of people don't want to deal with that. But guess what? If you've been in a lot of different religions, which he described in this Ezekiel 16, spreading your feet to everybody that passed by, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to link up and follow any type of structure. You've been with different men, with different agendas, with different thoughts, with different ways of doing things, who you amended yourself to. You know what I'm talking about? Especially if you say you was dealing with him for a period of time. If you were just having one night stands, you're the epitome of an idiot. You know what I'm talking about? Because that means you had such a poor view of your own body that you just gave it to anybody who walked up because you felt an itching in your loins. That's not somebody that anybody wants to raise their children, much less their daughter. Who wants a reformed whore to raise their daughter? You think the whoredom just going to go away? You don't think it's going to pop out from time to time? See, that's what happens when nobody cares about anything about how anybody behaves and thinks that any manner of behavior don't mean nothing, and they shame a man for having a standard of saying, that's not who I want to raise my children. That's not somebody I want to share my household with. I don't want to share my household with a woman who, when we go somewhere and people who know her laugh because she's known as such and such. They used to call her jawbone. Don't nobody want that. Don't no man want that. Especially if he's taking his time to do something with his life and he's built himself into something. Doesn't want that, because that woman is a representation of him and ends up becoming an extension of him. A woman who's been with a multiple amount of men, she can't become an extension of him. That's going to be impossible for her to do. She has too many thoughts and feelings and ties mentally and emotionally to other people. You know what I'm saying? That's your fault as a woman if you didn't weigh that out. How does that happen? That's why the text says you have to be born again, because if you come with that same mind you got, and you've been over here with Buddha, and you've been over here with Krishna, and you've been over here in the Christian church, you've been over there with Allah and all this here, you got too much stuff going on in your brain. You're not going to be able to bond with Yahuwah, because the structure and order he's going to come with is going to be foreign from what you're accustomed to, because none of those men required anything of you. One thing is most women don't know, because they ain't never been with a man who own that. If you with a man who really trying to do something, that man has some strong demands of you. And that's why you see a lot of women go to lesser men when they were with men who were a little bit stronger and more powerful, because that lesser man going to worship her, put her on a pedestal, tell her how great she is, sing songs to her, drop rose petals all across the house, buy you cakes and cookies and all this stuff here. You know what I'm talking about? Tell you how much you love you. A man on his grind ain't doing none of that. You know what I'm talking about? Not at that level. If ever. You know what I'm talking about? I know they show it to you in the movies. Man, F them movies. It's not real life. You think Bill Gates was doing all that? I'm around here making billions, doing all type of diabolical schemes all across the earth. You think I got time to drop rose petals on the floor? You know what I'm talking about? You think I got time for that? I ain't got time for that. Matter of fact, you're not even that important to me in comparison to what I'm doing. You're not that important. So let me go get with the school. Let me divorce him and go marry the school teacher, because the school teacher will do all of that. That's akin to what people do when they come to serve Yahuwah and say, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. F your religion. Religion is this, because Yahuwah don't care. He's not doing all that for you. You know what I'm saying? And he got demands of you. He'll give you all the benefits that you need and require. He's going to give you the love, the direction, the compassion. You know what I'm talking about? The guide. He going to give you everything you need, but he ain't going to put you on no pedestal, though. You know what I'm talking about? So you come right here, you a goddess, you a god, you the black man, original man on the earth, all that type of stuff, man. See, that puts you on the pedestal. That's what you want. See, that's a flaw in your character. You know what I'm talking about? But come on, man. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 13. Wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, hope to the end for the mercy that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach. As obedient sons, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance. That's why I mentioned that there, right? Your former lust, your former desires. You know what I'm talking about? That's why when you look at that, it's forth on the natural side. That's why that matters to a man. Because if this person had a high level of lust at a particular point, I have to be guaranteed that you're not going to return to that. Because that's going to be damaging to me. See, when it comes down to it, and it's the same in dealing with you, don't nobody really cares what type of damage is done to the man. You just need to do everything that I want you to do. And if you don't do it, then I'm going to shame you and tell you that you're XYZ type of man. That's why they talk trash about Yahuwah the way that they do. Because I need you to do what I want you to do that benefits my lusts. If you pay attention to it, that's all you have to pay attention to. When you hear people talking about, oh, men should, you're asking somebody to fulfill your lusts. And then you're mad because these men are not fulfilling your lusts. The same way that James wrote, you ask not, you receive not, because you ask amiss, because you ask to consume it upon your lust. Therefore, Yahuwah won't grant it to you. It's the same concept. There's no difference. Most people are motivated by their desires. And in their desires, they're going to forsake what's right. See, when you're full of desire, you're going to forsake order. Order and structure and discipline is not going to appeal to you because desire does not seek to be restrained. Desire seeks to be free. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he that is in the flesh can't please Alahym, because the flesh is not subject to the law of Alahym, neither indeed can be. What is the point? You ain't supposed to try to rein in no whore. Let her be the whore that she was born to be. You know what I'm talking about? You can't restrain in somebody who don't want to be restrained. You know what I'm talking about? Because they can't be subject to any order. It's impossible. But see, we don't believe that. You believe you can save everybody. You can believe everybody can be reformed. Everybody cannot, because everybody doesn't want to. And most of that stuff comes from what you've done with your past. See, what you do, your past is a strong predictor of your future. You know what I'm saying? How you behave is a strong predictor on how you may behave as things go on. Is that a guarantee? Absolutely not. But human beings are creatures of habit. You know what I'm talking about? You develop bad habits. You develop bad mindsets. You can stick to those mindsets for an extended period of time. It will take a cataclysmic event to move you off of that. You have to be shifted. You know what I'm talking about? It will take something dramatic happening in your life to change the way that you think. When you could have just changed the way that you thought when new information was brought. It shouldn't take dramatic events to cause you to think different. Case in point, Manasseh shouldn't have had to go to jail and all the stuff that he had to suffer for him to repent, to think differently than what he was doing. Yahuwah should not have had to do all of that to him. The minute he brought the information to him, Manasseh should have corrected himself. It took a dramatic set of events for Manasseh to humble himself and change course. That's the point that I make. Any point that I'm making, I'm going to give you a book for it. Because guess what? If Manasseh don't go through that, Manasseh is going to keep doing what he was doing. His mindset wasn't going to change. Nevertheless. But as which he have called you is Kadash, so be Kadash in all matter of conduct. Because it is written, be you Kadash, for I am Kadash. And if you call on Abba, who without respect of persons judge according to every man's work, pass the time of your sojourning in fear. For as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold from the vain conduct by tradition from your fathers, but with the precious blood of Mashiach as of a lamb without spot, without blemish, and without spot, who truly was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, who by him do believe in Alahym, that raised him up from the dead and gave him esteem, that your faith and hope might be in Alahym, seeing that you purified your souls and obeying the truth. Through the ruach, under unfeigned love of the brethren, love one another with a pure heart fervently, being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of Alahym, which live and abide forever. See, that's the point I mentioned. Like, you have to be born again in order to put away those lusts. It's the only way that it's going to benefit you. It means you're going to have to put that whole man off and put a new man on. That is not according to those desires that you had previously. That's the only way that you're going to make it. See, and also everything that we preach is according to what Peter just stated here in verse 21, that your faith and hope might be in Alahym. See, a lot of these dudes, they faith and hope ain't in Alahym. Your faith and hope can't be in Alahym talking about things of no consequence. Because hope is an expectation of reward. Faith is the reliability and soundness of a promise. If you don't have that, how you gonna stand? You not. Come on, we're back over here to Ezekiel 16, man, verse 43. See, what you got out here, man, is you got a lot of cowardly men who only want to group up with other cowardly men to be a bunch of pussies together. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you got. Because these are men who other men don't want to follow and women don't want to follow either, and they sit in a corner and cry about it. You know what I'm talking about? Being a man, and you ain't got to be the hardest man in the world. You ain't got to be no gangster, no killer. You just got to be able to stand firm on your ideals. Have a standard and code of which you live by and seek to achieve is to maximize any amount of greatness you have in your body and to be able to give that benefit off to the people around you. See, you got men who want to be leaders and ain't even great and can't even be a benefit to anyone around them to elevate those men. But they want to lead somebody. They want somebody to listen to them. That's what you see. That's what the internet done. Nigga, nobody want to listen to you. Ain't no what Bad Bun B said. Nobody don't hang with you, slang with you, bang with you, do any type of gangster things with you. Ain't nobody doing nothing with you because you ain't doing nothing with yourself. You know what I'm talking about? I've told you before, man, to be born a man is a great responsibility. Shalom, Christina. It's a great responsibility that's been given unto you. You've been given the ability to create, to control, and to conquer, and to rule. You know what I'm talking about? But you got to have the fortitude and the heart to be able to do the things necessary and to be able in order to do that. You don't get that by reason of your existence. You don't have that by reason of having a penis. Don't nobody owe you nothing. That woman don't have to follow you. That woman don't have to submit to you. These men don't have to trust you. These men don't have to roll with you. But everybody's scared. I don't want to be used. Nigga, you have nothing to use, so that's why nobody's using you. That's just your excuse because you're a loser. How have we gotten so comfortable with being losers and failures is beyond me. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas champion it. Rejoice in it that you suck. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, my manhood isn't tied into the money that I make. Well, what is it tied into? Because it's not the money that you made. Just like I told Mahone, I told you that it's not the money that you made. It's the discipline, the commitment, the drive, the work ethic that took for you to be able to generate it. You know what I'm talking about? That's where you see the tenets of a man's masculinity. That it's not the money. It's what you did in order to actually produce it. The character traits and the attributes that one has to possess to excel at a high level. These are the same attributes that you need in order to serve Yahuwah. You must have discipline. Take up your stake daily and follow me. You know what I'm talking about? Which is tying into your commitment, which would tie into your work ethic. That's what these things would tie into. Because then when you have done these things, then you get the production, which would be your wealth, which would be AKA your fruits of the ruach, which would be your peace, your joy, your long suffering, your gentleness, your meekness, your goodness, your self-control, your faith, your peace, your joy. That would be the currency that you created from work ethic that you put in. And it would show that this is a man of greatness. This is a man of note. This is a man of strength. This is a man who should be respected. Shalom, Brother Rimmer. What she want? Go get it. Hurry up.
No, she wants to put water in.
Hurry up. You got to think about that, man. See, that's what dudes get it twisted at because they always think it's about the resources. It's not about the production and what goes in order to get the production. That's the hallmark of what makes a man great, what makes a man who he is. If a man doesn't have any commitment, if he doesn't have any dedication, if he doesn't have any drive, if he doesn't have any discipline, that man is worthless. You know what I'm talking about? He is absolutely of no use or value to anyone. Look at the work. Look at the work ethic of Yahusha on your own time. Just pay attention to the work he did. Remember, this man looked at these people when he was a child and say, "No, you not. That I must be about my Father's business." That lets you know right then he was committed to his work ethic. That he was dedicated to the task at hand. He was not going to be distracted from it. You know what I'm saying? Look at his commitment. Look at the discipline. These are the things that went in to us looking at him and saying, this is a great man. You know what I'm saying? And this son, sadly, this generation of men, we don't possess that. You cry. I wasn't raised that way, man. You know what I'm talking about? I would tell nobody want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I done offended many people with that. Man, I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that, bro. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You doing all that crying? I don't want to hear that, bro. I just need to vent. Shoot, go find your mama, man. Go hook yourself up to the dryer. I don't want to hear that. Not if you're not finna do nothing about it. See, there's a difference when somebody gets something off their chest and somebody just whining and complaining. You know what I'm saying? All that whining and complaining, you're a loser as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to get to know you. I don't want to get to know that type of thought process and mindset. That's alien to me. I don't want nothing to do with that. Then when I pick up the word, I see Yahuwah don't want nothing to do with that. Murmurers and complainers. The man despises it. Murmuring and complaining is a sign of lack of trust. You know what I'm talking about? So don't nobody want to hear that? 1643. That's word-wise. You know what I'm talking about? As far as that murmuring and complaining. But that's another conversation for another day. We ain't talked about that in a long time. 1643, Ezekiel, because you have not remembered the days of your youth, but you have fretted me in all these. Behold, therefore I will recompense your way upon your head, saith Yahuwah Alahym, and you should not commit this lewdness above all your abominations. Let me ask y'all this question. I know it's a lot of context that is not being mentioned, but he's talking about the house of Yasharal. So when he said you didn't remember the days of your youth, do any of you know what time period that he is referring to as it pertains to the house of Yasharal? Does anybody know? All I need is 2 to 3 people to try to answer it, and I'm not going to hold y'all, you know what I'm saying, for an extended period of time waiting for somebody to come up with the correct answer. I just need 2 to 3 of y'all. The wilderness. Will says the wilderness. I need 1 or 2 more people to give me their offering. You say when they left Egypt, that's you're saying while they were there, as they were leaving, or in the wilderness?
As they were leaving. Well, in the wilderness when they was complaining.
No, I'm not talking about when they complaining. He said you have not remembered the days of your youth. That's what I'm referring to. Anybody else? I still need two more people. At least 1 or 2 more people on the stream. Oh, nobody wants to try their hand. Don't nobody want to try their hand? Is that what we got going on? We're the only one wanting to roll the dice. Yes. Both of you answered that correctly. While they were in Egypt. That was the days of their youth. And they forgot. Yes, sir. And Ezekiel 16 enumerates that. Stand put when they were in Egypt in their blood. They forgot the days of their youth. You forgot where you came from. You forgot the struggle that you had. That's part of the reason why that Proverb 30 says what it says. You know what I'm saying? Give me food convenient for me. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me poor lest I steal and say, you know, and take the name of Yahuwah in vain. You know what I'm talking about? Or lest I be rich and say, who is Yahuwah? He said, just give me enough give me what I need. See, some people look at that, right? See, everybody who be poor ain't going to take his name in vain. And everybody who got money ain't going to forget it. You know what I'm talking about? But you got some people who will. See, you got to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then don't be one of them dudes that try to use that to be, yeah, that's why I don't need no money. Don't use that. Like I said, man, you got to maximize every bit of manhood you got in you and ability you got in you while you're here. You don't want to leave nothing on the table. You want to be able to so that you, because the reason being, and I keep saying it over and over again, when you maximize yourself, that means that there's a possibility that you've helped as many people as you possibly could help who came across your path. You know what I'm talking about? As a man, you want to be able to have people look at you and say, I'm better because I know you. My life improved because I met you and I had interactions with you. That's the hallmark of a man, is you've left a man in a better spot than when you met him. You know what I'm talking about? These dudes don't care nothing about that because they don't want to be in a better spot than when they find themselves. And then they want a woman to come along and say, let me get down with that. And you think these women can't tell that you losers. They can tell. They just don't be caring. I need somebody. Or she think that she can love you into a winner. See, that's what a lot of them mess up. I can love them into a winner. My coochie good enough. Then she find out, no, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? This boy don't want to win. And of course, winning is subjective in regards to, it's not about wealth per se. You know what I'm talking about? Winning is about maximizing yourself, man. Doing the best that you can do with what you got. Not being content with being content. See, you're supposed to be content with having the things that you need. You know what I'm saying? He said, as long as you got food, clothing, and shelter, therefore be content. Because see, what goes to happen is when you have a desire to obtain more, and that's talking about more as far as material things are concerned. That's why he told you beware of covetousness, because a man's life doesn't consist in the abundance of things of which he possesses. That doesn't make a man's life. That don't make him great. He can have a great multitude of things and still be a loser because he ain't a man on the inside. And you see that. A lot of people hold Will Smith in high regard. That's not a man. He's a man who has a lot of money, but in mind and heart, that's not a man. You know how you're not a man? Because your wife slept with another man and you said it wasn't adultery because she told you about it. That's not a man. You know what I'm talking about? He's not a man because you married a woman who was in love with a dead man and you knew it. You're supposed to win that way. But guess what he said? He said he wanted his mother's love. He wanted to be loved. He wanted somebody to love him. He wanted somebody to love because of something that happened to his mother. And he set himself on a trajectory of a lifetime of misery. You know what I'm talking about? See, y'all don't pay attention to stuff like that because these celebrities and all this other type of stuff, nigga don't care nothing about that. That's not a man. That's not a man that anybody should want to be like. Though he has the pinnacle of success, he's actually failed in life because he's not a man. See, Kanye is traveling down that road. You know what I'm talking about? He's traveling down that road that everything you built gonna be for nothing because you compromising your manhood for a whore who don't want you no more. You know what I'm saying? That ain't even your wife because she's been married twice. So that ain't even your wife. You know what I'm talking about? You've been committing adultery for 10 years. Those is unclean babies you got. But see, most people in the world, they don't want to have that conversation. Guess what? Nigga talking about the Sierra prayer. Don't pray the Sierra prayer. Sierra going to hell. Sierra's an adulteress. Russell Wilson been married before. You understand? He been married before. She's committing adultery. She prayed for another woman's husband. And guess what? Yahuwah gave her what she was looking for. But y'all don't pay attention to stuff like that. You champion it. Because you still worshiping idols, even though you say you in the word. Nigga, yeah, Rihanna pregnant. Rihanna's a whore with a bastard baby in her womb from a metrosexual man. You can't respect no man carrying no whole purse. This is stuff you look at. We don't look at none of this stuff on any type of level. You look at it on one. You ain't even looking at it two-dimensionally. You looking at one-dimensionally. The lust, the drive. You looking at it. You living vicariously through people who don't even love what you love and despise what you love. And spit upon it every chance they get. Why would we hold them in high regard? Why would I care what they say or what they think or what they do? These people ain't nobody. These people blaspheme the name of the mighty name by which you call by on a daily basis. Not because they devil worshipers and all that other stuff, but the way that they live and how they just openly say they care not for anything this man got to say. And guess what? You want to be in whoredom with them. That's why I say you done forgot the days of your youth and you join in with these people in their lewdness and their abominations. You join in with them. What you were doing when you were in the land with the Philistines and with the Hittites and with the Amorites and the Canaanites. You know what I'm talking about? And the Ammonites and the Moabites. You still doing it now. You used to what? I don't know what that last word means. I'm confused. You'll share it with me when you in a moment. Verse 44. You know what I'm saying? Ezekiel 16. Behold, everyone that uses proverbs shall use this proverb against you, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. You art your mother's daughter that loathed her husband and her children. You art the sister of sisters, which loathed her husbands and their children. Your mother was a Hittite, and your father was an Amorite. Your elder sister is Samaria, she and her daughters that dwell at your left hand. And your younger sister that dwell at your right hand is Sodom and her daughters. Yet you have not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations, as if it were very little thing. You was corrupted more than they in all your ways. As I live, saith Yahuwah Alahym, Sodom your sister have not done, she nor her daughters as you have done, you and your daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom. Pride, fullness of bread, abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. Now, I don't know if y'all remembered what that meant, but we'll redo it again. When you look at fullness of bread, what was the fullness of bread? Fullness again was the satiety of one's feel, satisfaction, sabah lakim. So you felt you were satisfied with bread. He said you also had the abundance of idleness. What was that? That was the quietness, ease, and prosperity, shalva. And what was idleness? Idleness was not sitting around doing anything. Idleness is sakat, and that was to be tranquil, to be at peace, to pacify, to allay. You had a multitude of peace. Who remembers what that referred to that multitude of peace, as forth as it pertains to the history of the house of Yasharal? Share it with me, please. Who recalls? Okay, I got you. She said she used to pretty much idolize Rihanna before. Now she disgusts me. Everything she does. I never even thought about why now. I just noticed she doesn't impress me anymore at all. Only because it was just because of the allure of celebrity more than anything, more than likely. I think that is for most people. We just live it. This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying this is the case for you. This is my personal opinion. We live in a society that causes us and pushes us to look at celebrities in this fashion. That's correct, sir. Yes, sir. During the time of King Solomon's reign is when you had the abundance of peace, which goes back to what we were talking about. See, let me tell you something, right? I was telling D this the other day, right? I know that boy Anton said this a lot. I don't disagree with it. You know what I'm saying? Men need a struggle. Men need that. Women do not. Women don't need a struggle. A struggle does not benefit a woman's character. It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what nobody tell you, it doesn't. When a woman has to struggle, you put her in survival mode. When you put a woman in survival mode, she's going to be masculine. You know what I'm talking about? Struggle causes a woman to lose her femininity. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want a woman in no struggle. Because I'm telling you, when a woman goes into survival mode, she's going to become masculine. You know what I'm talking about? Because when men get in survival mode, it causes you to dig deep, and it causes you to grab hold to any level of masculinity you got to be able to protect and to push past that danger. You know what I'm talking about? That's why when you meet women who have kids and they've been in survival mode for 10, 15 years, they have a particular type of attitude. You know what I'm talking about? That the average dude to be like, that's why you don't mess with women with children, regardless of the multitude of reasons why you would not. That is the one they run across, and they don't understand why. This woman's been in survival mode for 6, 7 years. She hasn't been able to tap into her femininity. That's what women say they want a man to be. If you get secure, you get to see. They say all that junk, but that's just shame and talk. Because see, them hoes past the point of being submissive. You know what I'm talking about? Usually when they go to talking like that, if you can make me safe and secure, you get the most submissive woman. See, you already had that and you messed it up. You know what I'm talking about? So now you trying to throw that out there to see if you can get a damn fool to come in and be what you want him to be, to quote unquote make you feel safe. But in simple human biology, women don't need no struggle. They don't function well under pressure. You know what I'm talking about? They don't function well under stress. You're talking about an emotional creature. They're not built for it. You know what I'm saying? I had a conversation about this some years back. I remember a good brother I know, his wife say, women can handle stress. I'm like, of course we know they can handle it. Birth stress. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want the stress of a family on their shoulders. They don't want it. You know what I'm talking about? They don't do well with it. And you can go out here and you can ask any woman you can find who's been dealing with that. See, some people like, yeah, Rihanna, they talking about Boosie said Rihanna being a single mother, they ain't a big deal. Because she rich, she not going to have that type of stress. She rich, she's not going to have that type of stress. But guess what? That singles to the stupid hoes who follow her, that she can do it too. And you can pretend that broke nigga you got ASAP Rocky, but both of y'all broke. Now you going to be stressing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man, I learned that a long time ago, man. Men need a struggle because that's either gonna make or break him. He either gonna rise up greatness or he gonna be the loser that he was born to be. But a woman, that junk don't do nothing for her. You know what I'm talking about? It do absolutely nothing for her. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just here to tell you, it don't do nothing for her. And I'm telling you this from life experience. I ain't telling you what a nigga done told me. I'm telling you what I done observed. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you what I've been told by certain women in the course of my lifetime, especially in my youth. I done seen it. See, so much you thinking because your mama, my mama dealt well with it. She just didn't let you see her go cry in the back. She ain't let you see all that stress. You know what I'm talking about? But the main thing, if you want to see, it makes them masculine. You know what I'm talking about? It makes them masculine. Why y'all thinking dudes be like, these women want us to pay all the bills? Well, shoot, nigga, you want her to be a woman, don't you? Because if she got to go out that door and fight with the world just like you fighting with the world, and then think that you're going to come in and get the softest, most gentlest woman, you lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Now, that's not to say just because the woman go to work that she going to come home and be a man. I'm talking about if she got to fight the world so y'all can survive. Because you got some women who want to work. And we had a conversation too. You know what I'm saying? I was telling somebody the other day too, man. It's real talk. Most of y'all, this ship done sailed. Well, you need to make sure as a woman that you want to be a housewife. And as a man, you need to ask that woman, is that what she want to do? A lot of these dudes, man, they be out here, man, and they try. We just seen it in that movie you were playing too. That woman didn't want to be no housewife. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these brews, they get messed up in the game because they getting women who don't want to do that. That don't make her anything. That don't make her some evil, wicked, rebellious woman because she don't want to be a housewife. That just means that's not the woman that you should marry. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong if that woman want to go to work. She might have something that she enjoys doing. See, most women don't want to go to work because they're doing stuff they don't like doing. You know what I'm talking about? It's different if she got a job. See, there's a difference. You have a job and you have a career. Some women have careers and they like their career. You know what I'm talking about? And that's fine. But if a woman got a job, she don't want to go to work. You know what I'm talking about? Go to work. Nigga, I don't like it here. She got a career, something she enjoy doing. Yeah, she ain't gonna mind. You know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna mind. What you say? Christine said her mother worked all her life until she met and married my father, and eventually she stopped working because he wanted it that way. Well, see, they probably had that conversation. And she said, your mother, and she was I know she, you know why she was a lot happier? Not because she didn't have to go to work. She didn't have to pay bills no more. You know what I'm talking about? She had to be like, okay, I need to go work these 40 hours so I can pay this and pay. She ain't got to worry about that. All that stress is gone. You know what I'm talking about? She like this here, whoo, boy, I ain't know life could be this good. And you got men of this generation, that upsets them. But it upsets them because you're seeking to do that for people who don't deserve it. You know what I'm talking about? You're giving that honor to somebody who doesn't deserve it. If your wife deserves it, man, I done told you that before, man. Your wife do what she's supposed to do, man. Give her what she deserves, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't know why dudes feel like that's a problem. Man, your wife doing what you want her to do, whatever that is, man. Hey, man, and she's shining. Guess what? You know what the book say? The book say her work shall praise her in the gate. Her husband and her children arise and call her blessed. Because I just had a conversation with a lady about this. And she was saying traditional woman. I said, we don't go by traditional woman. That she stay at home and don't do nothing. I said, that's not biblically based. That's the Western theos. That's Western ethos. That's what they do. That woman still did stuff for the benefit of the household. That's what made her a strong woman, according to Yahuwah. That's what would make her husband say, this woman is blessed. Her children say this woman is blessed. Not sitting at the house, sitting around skinning and grinning. That's new stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's a lot of churn. You know what I'm saying? That was a different time. But still but of course, we're talking about, of course, especially with Proverbs 31, the agricultural people. She had a lot of things that she was doing for benefit that household. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Leave It to Beaver. Was she like this here vacuuming and cleaning and cooking meals and that was it? I said that's a Western thing. Nevertheless, 16. And of course, strengthening the hand of the poor, strengthening his kazak. He didn't give the courage. Of course, they didn't feed him the word. The word wasn't being taught. And y'all know that with all them wicked kings that was flying through the house of Yehuda, Ahab and such. And they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore, I took them away as I saw. Neither had Samaria committed all your sins, but you have multiplied your abominations more than they, and have justified your sisters in all the abominations which they have done. You also, which have judged your sisters, bear your own shame for your sins. You've committed more abominations than they. They are more righteous than you. Be you confounded also, and bear your shame, in that you justified your sisters. And when I shall bring again their captivity, the captivity of Sodom and her daughters, and the captivity of Samaria and her daughters, then the captivity of your captives in the midst of them, that they may bear their own shame, and be confounded in all that they have done, and that you are a comfort unto them. Now let's look at comfort, make sure it's Nakam. And it is to console, to be comfort oneself. Now sit back and look at this here, right? That's your repentance. Then you get the comfort of the ruach hakadash, if you would. Same thing that's in Ezekiel, be ashamed of all your doings. That's one of the part of the reasons of you confessing your sins, is order for you to be confounded and ashamed, for you to understand what it is that you've done in your lifetime before you came to be born again, that you could be purged and no longer be, O Sodom. You know what I'm talking about? See, we don't like that. See, our people don't like to hear this stuff because we live in a delusion. In order to be great, you have to do work. And in order to do work, you have to acknowledge what you did wrong. In order to become great, you can't make errors and act like them errors didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? One thing I can always tell people like this here, right? Especially if it's, don't tell me about what this nigga did. What did you do? Because guess what? Focusing on what this person did is not going to be able to help you in what you need to do. I don't care what that person did, unless that person is sitting right there with you. Because if you want to be great, you got to focus on, what did I do wrong? What part did I contribute into this blunder, in order that I can be a better person, a better version of myself coming up out of it? That's what you see. See, when you see a lot of dudes, they be with a chick, then they separate, and they always talking down and bad on the chick. That nigga a hoe. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about a big hoe. Because as a man, he ain't even looking at himself and be like, okay, that's the role. Number one, the role I played, I shouldn't have picked the hoe. You know what I'm talking about? That's the first thing supposed to come out of his mouth. Man, I shouldn't even pick this hoe. That's on me. You know what I'm talking about? And he gonna be looking at his own game tape. You don't watch game tape of another player to see how he played badly when you got your own game tape to look at. That don't make sense. That's what we got out here, man. You got grown men crying about women all. Do you know, as if you was a woman, would you respect men who sit around and cry about women all day? What's wrong with you? You think that's gonna get you some sympathy, Coochie? It's not. It's not. It's not gonna get you anything. It's gonna get you nothing but contempt and rejection and reviling. You're going to be reviled by men and women alike. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been told y'all, boy, man, don't y'all be ODing on them niggas on the internet with that red pill junk, man. Don't be ODing on that junk, man. A lot of them niggas squares, man. It's revenge of the nerds out here, man. You know what I'm talking about? These are dudes who couldn't get respect when they was in high school. These are dudes who couldn't get respect when they was in college. These are dudes who weren't getting respect in life. Now the internet done came and gave them a platform. Now, and guess what? A bunch of cornball niggas and nerds is right there with them, super chatting it up, cash apping it up. You know what I'm talking about? And then what's the word I'm looking for? And strengthening the hearts of weak men, as if they speak for all men. And then and it really coming from dudes who ain't had no daddy or no strong male presence. So you come across these dudes and you feel like they dropping hella game. Do you know what I'm saying? But they really cornballs. They really cornballs because you can't take nothing from it and be better because of it. It don't even give you a pause to say, let me think different. Let me look at my mindset. Let me change my perspective. Do you know what I'm talking about? Man, you just sitting around a bunch of niggas crying all day. See, this a nigga got a channel, man. That's Chad and Tyrone. I'm like, man, you sound like a hoe. All they do talking about a Pookie and Ray Ray and a Chad and Tyrone. Come on, man. How you in your 30s talking about a Chad and a Tyrone, man? But guess what, though? You mad because she give the coochie to them and not to you. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I've been telling you this here, man, because whole niggas spread around like AIDS, man. It's rapid. It's almost like coronavirus. You know what I'm talking about? I told you I seen a video of a white lady. She said all beta males should be extinguished from the earth. I don't disagree with her. I don't disagree. All weak men ought to be extinguished. You're a waste of space. I ain't saying to go kill nobody, but they don't deserve to breathe. Much less definitely don't deserve to replicate. Do you understand the detriment to the earth for a less than optimal man, a feminine man? Let's be more politically correct and nice about it. A weak man to reproduce his genes in the form of another man that looks like him. The whole nigga disease just spreads. It's like cancer. You understand what cancer cells do? It takes the oxygen out of the organ. Whole niggas spread through the earth and take the oxygen out of the earth. You know what I'm saying? We need radiation. We need some type of, what it is, soursop, whatever them herbs them boys use to kill cancer. That's what we need to use to kill whole niggas. You know what I'm talking about? To starve them out. Where we at, man? I think we're in verse 54. I mean that too, man. I ain't being funny. It might sound fun. I'm dead serious. (1654) book of Ezekiel. That you may bear your own shame, you may be confounded at all that you've done, and that you are a comfort unto them. When your sister Sodom and her daughter shall return to their former estate, and Samaria and her daughter shall return to their former estate. Do you see how that come in with the be the shame? And then you return it to your former. Let me explain to you what. Let's just look and see what former estate is for everybody. So we got Shub, Kadama. Kadama is Kuf, Dalit, Meme, and hey, is what they got here. Antiquity, former estate, situation before, origin, former state, former situation. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind as it says that. I'm going to read it again. When your sister Sodom and her daughters shall return to their former estate, Samaria and her daughters shall return to their former estate, then you and your daughters return to your former estate. For your sister Sodom was not mentioned by your mouth in the day of your pride, before your wickedness was discovered, as the time of your reproach of the daughters of Syria, all that are round about her, the daughters of the Philistines which despise you round about. They have borne your lewdness and your abominations. For thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, I will deal with you as you have done which you have despised the oath and breaking the covenant. Nevertheless, I remember my covenant with you in the days of your youth. That takes you back also to the wilderness part, back to the beginning, back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will establish unto you everlasting covenant. That would take you back to your former estate. Meaning you going back to the land, which is going back to, he's detailing what we actually here for, whether you realize it or not, creating in you a clean heart and renewing you a right ruach. See, that was what underneath all that harsh talking that came before all of that. You know what I'm saying? Is that there has to be something, has to be born anew. Pause, come to Ephesians chapter 4. Four and 17. And that's what I mean by, because see, that's the only thing, right? The only thing that can starve out weak men is the word. It has to starve out all that weak energy out of them to strengthen them to be men. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that can do it. After that, there they serve no purpose. See, we like to read the verse, no effeminate men are getting in, but that's talking about sodomites. Indeed, he's going to take you back to your first estate. Be like this here, behold the blood sacrifice of the last Adam. He's taking you right back to your first estate. You know what I'm talking about? What is your first estate? Dwelling in paradise. Take us back to what we were discussing previously. You get to the tree of life, and you get to partake in the righteousness of faith and the things that go along with that. Most of us don't want to see. I was telling the brother this earlier, right? We were talking about a certain thing, man. I was telling him, right? I say, man, a man could molest a little girl and people want to kill him. A woman could molest a little boy, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or you gonna feel like it ain't a big deal. And I told him, I say, bro, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Boy, if I call a chick molesting my son, I'm gonna beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about hands on her, like a man. I'm gonna give her the same energy that I would give a grown man for molesting my daughter. I'm gonna beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? And I mean what I say. I'm not playing. I'm not joking. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm dead serious about that. If I caught a woman putting her mouth on my little boy penis, he 5, 6, 7 years old, I'm gonna beat that hoe up. If I catch this hoe putting his face in between her legs, I'm gonna beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? If I see her trying to simulate sex acts with it, I'm gonna beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about literally hands and feet. Body slam. She gonna get that same energy. You know what I'm talking about? It's not gonna be no difference. Oh, that's my boy. He becoming a man. I'm gonna beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. I done told you before. Oh, ain't gonna be over. If your daughter get caught having sex in the house, you gonna put her out. If I catch my son having sex in my house, I'm gonna put him out. You know what I'm talking about? But we don't condone any of that. But I mean what I say, boy. If I was to catch a woman molesting my son, boy, I'm gonna beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? Like straight up and down. I don't care how old she is. I don't care what she look like. And I'm going to call the police and tell her I beat that hoe up. You got to come pick her up. You know what I'm talking about? What you beat her up for? She molested my son and I beat that hoe up. You know what I'm talking about? For real, man. That nigga, I feel you, because shoot, it's even. Nah, man, that junk ain't right. Because you know why people don't, I would tell them, man, I say, man, dudes don't want to act like, people don't want to act like that a young man being sexually abused is going to have an effect on his mental state. That it's not going to have an effect on how he interact with women. You know what I'm talking about? It's not going to affect the way he view a woman. The same way that it affect a little girl and how she interact and view a man. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, that's a child, man. Man, I ain't on that. Indeed, it do mess with their head. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't on that. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't gonna be like, oh, nah, he just being a man. Boy, I'm gonna beat that hoe up, boy.
Oh, yeah, that was the episode of Law &
Order. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat that hoe up. I'm talking about pop, pop. All that. I'm talking about body slams, stone cold stunners, all that, tombstones. I'm gonna beat that hoe up, man, like a man. Like a man. Ain't playing no games. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm gonna let my son know that's not right. She shouldn't have did that to you. That ain't right. You know what I'm talking about? Because guess what could happen with him? He could grow up resenting his mama. He could grow up resenting me that I ain't protecting from his woman. No, I'm going to beat that hoe up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna kick her all around the room, the city, the block, the street, all that. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been told that sexual exploits should be pushed on a boy. You don't push that junk on him, man. I seen the chick talking about what a man like this here. The chick say, oh, so a man can go around and hoe and do this here. I say, baby, I ain't never promoted that. You know what I'm saying? You inferred that. You know what I'm talking about? Like at the end of the day, a man ought to value his seed. You should teach your son to value your seed and not value pleasure. His seed is the most precious thing that he has. That's a replication of his DNA. Don't you know when your firstborn son is the beginning of your strength, you don't value that? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You eat that hard up to feel good? This is the type of stuff that men's supposed to be teaching young men. Like, nah, bro, you supposed to value your seed, bro. You ain't supposed to be around here looking for pleasure. You a man, boy. It's more to life than pleasure. You a builder. You a creator. And you worry about being satisfied and entertained. Nigga, you's a child. You know what I'm saying? You got the mind of a child. You want pleasure and entertainment. You on the level of a woman and a child. Come on, man. Come on, man. Ain't nobody respecting that. Ain't nobody following that. Verse 60, man. Nevertheless, I will remember my covenant with you in the days of your youth, and I will establish unto you an everlasting covenant. Then you shall remember your ways and be ashamed when you shall receive your sisters, your elder and your younger. I will give them unto you for daughters, but not by your covenant. And I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah. This gives you the inkling in that there'll be a new covenant, not like the covenant I made with your fathers when they came up out of the wilderness. No, let Yahuwah be esteemed. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, man, you know, you get your loins get, man, everybody, you know about middle school. Some of y'all was a little fast in elementary school, you know what I'm talking about? Probably watching little dirty movies, messing around, staying up late night, looking at Cinemax, seeing little soft porn and skin flicks. You know what I'm saying? Your loins already hot. You might have had a little fast little girl in your neighborhood want a hunch. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, you ain't telling them nothing wrong. But more so, I give you this. I say this here. Instead of telling them no girlfriends, explain to them why it wouldn't be beneficial for them to seek one. You know what I'm saying? Give them some understanding on why. Because see, if you tell a child don't do something, they're going to be more inclined to do it. You know what I'm saying? But if you can explain to them, son, you don't need no girlfriend. And this is why. And not just on the spiritual aspect of it too. Just as a man, son, you need to be worrying about no woman because you need to be figuring out boom, 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 boom. You need to be focusing on building boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm talking about? Then when you bring Yahuwah into play, it makes the perfect mix. Now when you bring Yahuwah into play, son, you do this here, you ain't gonna be able to focus on the Lord. You ain't gonna be able to focus on this, worry about yourself. Because the women gonna come. You know what I'm saying? Long as you make yourself into the man that you need to be, a woman is gonna come. They gonna come to you. You ain't got to go to them. You know what I'm talking about? That's what dudes be messing up at. You ain't made yourself into a man that women would come to, so you got to come to the woman and roll the dice. Will she like me? Will she like me? I think she'll like me. Who gives a damn if she like you? She should like you, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? You should be a man that somebody like. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't got to prove to her that she should like you. She already knows she should like you by being in your presence. No, this ain't no regular dude. This ain't like the other dudes I be coming across. You know what I'm talking about? I wish I would convince a woman to like me, man. You know what I'm saying? I might as well smoke crack. Hey, shoot, I can dig it, my G. I can dig that. You know what I'm saying? I can dig that. Yeah, man. Make yourself, like I said, man, we be so focused on getting a woman, you don't focus on becoming a man. I told you, man, I'm telling you, the big homie told me that, young man, get your money, man. He was like, them hoes gonna come. They say looking back older, he thought it was weird. He was messing with a 21-year-old. He was 17. He couldn't do nothing before, but one thing. That's all she wanted anyway. You know what I'm talking about? The real now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, when he told me that, and I went and sat and thought about it, he ain't put it in them words. But at the end of the day, he was telling me, man, focus on being the best man you can be, not chasing down no woman. Because he said, then they're going to come. When you make yourself into who you want to be, then you know that these women picking you. Then you can vet them easier. See, when you spending all your time trying to convince her to like you, you can't even vet her. Because you're going to be so concerned with proving to her that she should pick you. Like I see this chick talking about you should date multiple different men and let them compete. I'll smoke crack before I compete for a woman. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not competing with no group of dudes for no woman. You know what I'm talking about? Because if she got a group of dudes competing for her, that means she ain't a woman worth having. You know what I'm saying? They can tell themselves that all they want to. I don't want to be excluded. You can say what you want to say. Them niggas going to go for that. But shoot, you must don't know who I am. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't a woman worth being with if you feel like you, because that's a stroke to her ego to sit back and watch 4-5 dudes compete for her. Let the best man win. What the hell I look like? What I look like competing to take care of somebody? You want me to compete with 4 other niggas to take care of you. Shoot, that nigga can take care of you. I'm going to keep my money. You know what I'm talking about? Especially when I was younger. Shoot, I go buy some reefer with it. At the end of the day, when you telling a man compete for a woman, you telling him compete to take care of this woman and to lay your life down for her. I'm not competing with other dudes to die for you. They can gladly do it. You know, because that means you don't like me enough. I got to prove to you why you should be with me. The hell you say? And what am I getting out of the deal? Your body? I don't want it. I don't want it. That's how they got you living out here, man. Don't live your life like that, man. Come on back to Psalm 51. Don't do it. Don't let these people that have you debase your manhood out here, man, for a little tickle in your pickle. Don't go out like that. Love yourself. Respect yourself. You know what I'm talking about? I know we talked about a little bit about Sodom, man. We ain't going to keep going down that road. Psalms 51 and 2. I know I read Isaiah 1 and 16. I'll read it again, though. I know I did get Malachi 3 before we got out of here, so we're good on that. I'm trying to make sure I remember. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. When we're looking at being washed again, that's kabos. That was the performing the work of a fuller. Let's come over here to Matthew chapter 3. When we're looking at performing that work of a fuller. You can pick it up in Matthew 3 and 6. I know sometimes the words be harsh, man, but it's a harsh world we live in, man. It's a hard world we live in, man. Niggas be around here coddled. Grown men being coddled because your mama coddled you. That's why you around here crying. Baby, I want to share my feelings with you. Sit your hoe behind down somewhere, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Bunch of degenerates and losers, man. Nigga want you to be in the loser club with them. Don't be with them, my G. You got to stand alone, man. You know what I'm talking about? And roll with the people who trying to go in the direction you want to go in life, man. Irregardless of what they look like, where they come from, or any of that. A lot of these dudes on some other type of time, man, and you don't need to be out here joined up with them. Matthew chapter 3 and 6. And were immersed in Jordan, confessing their sins. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his immersion, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth fruits meet for repentance, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to father. For I say unto you, the Alahym is able of these stones to raise up sons unto Abraham. But now also is the axe laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore every true tree which bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. I indeed immerse you with water unto repentance, but he that come after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you with the ruach hakodesh and with fire, whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. Why is this important? Because he said he's going to immerse you with the ruach hakodesh with fire, and that's what's going to wash you. Because you know the fire purge. You understand? Remember he say, I counsel of you to buy fire for me. Gold to me tried in the fire, that you might be rich. So when we're looking for a different type of cleansing. To be washed thoroughly from that iniquity and to be cleansed from the sin. Let's look at the cleanse from the sin, if we would. Cleanse in this regard is tahor. A tahar, word you should know, that is to be pure. Let's look at just a statement that the Lord said to his apostles in the 15th chapter of John on general principle. It's something that you already know. So we just go ahead and do it. And then, of course, we'll get everybody's favorite, Psalms 119. Just give us an excuse to go to Psalms 119. John 15:1. I'm the true vine. My Abba is the husbandman. Every branch in me that bear not fruit, he take away. Every branch that bear fruit, he purge, that it might bring forth more fruit. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine. No more except you abide in me. You already know, my G. That fire either going, that's right, that fire either going to make you clean or it's going to destroy you. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing, right? I say a lot of things harshly. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, come over here to John 13. And some things I say, and it might sound funny, but I be dead serious. But a lot of men need to be purged. They need to be taken through the fire. You know what I'm saying? That's why a man need a struggle. You ain't never seen no woman taken through the fire. What good will it do? You know what I'm saying? And why is that important when I say that? What can y'all tie to that as far as a woman not going through the fire? Let me give you an example. Yasharal is the bride, yes or no? Is the woman, yes or no? In the chat. I know y'all know that, but in the chat, yes or no? Then you'd have to get out of this house. No. At this time, I would have already have a full strength that you already know.
Well, did you test it?
Yes, many times before now. What is that you got? Your cobbler? You cobbling? Yeah, that's what you're doing. So boom, when we look at that, right? When you came up out of Egypt, did you have a struggle? Oh, is Yasharal a lady? Did you have a struggle when you came out of Egypt? Yes or no? Saran says yes. Brother Reynolds says no. Anybody else? Christina says no. And she didn't. She ain't had no struggle coming out of Egypt. She had oppression. She ain't had no struggle. When all them plagues, remember, right? When all the plagues went down, who did the plagues fall on? All the plagues fell on the Egyptians. And I understand for those who saying yes, the perspective you looking at it. You looking at the perspective of the hard labor that they had. You know what I'm talking about? But as forth as the tribulation, when you see in the story, they had no tribulation. They had nothing. Every single plague fell on them. Remember, he said that a dog would not be able to wag his tongue, and he put a difference between the house of Yasharal and the Egyptian. Out of all them plagues, ain't none of them fall on your head. No, we didn't even have a struggle in the wilderness. The struggle in the wilderness was self-inflicted. You know what I'm talking about? And you know why we had a self-inflicted struggle in the wilderness? Because you ain't have a struggle coming up out of Egypt. Because no man would put a woman through a struggle that don't benefit her. You know what I'm talking about? It don't benefit her. Now, he chastised her, and that's probably what some of y'all thinking about is the chastisement. Because the chastisement is not a struggle. A chastisement is instruction and correction and a rebuke. You know what I'm saying? Seems similar, but a tad bit different. Right. It's not even the laws that we weren't hearkening to, Christina. They didn't trust him. Because it wasn't the laws that was the problem. It was the lack of trust. You know what I'm saying? They weren't sound. They didn't rely on him. They didn't believe in the soundness of his word. And that's what caused the struggle in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like they was in around there breaking a multitude of different laws as a group. There you go. What esteem is it if you be buffeted for your faults? See, and I'm just using that as an example of what I mentioned earlier about a woman not having a struggle. You don't understand that the whole struggle that the Egyptians, this is an old lesson. You'd have to dig for this one here. You know what I'm saying? This about 5, 6, this going on 6 years ago. All the sufferings, and it ties into the verse when he said that he raised Pharaoh up for the specific purpose to bring his esteem. You know what I'm saying? You would think that by seeing all those plagues, they would trust him. But that don't mean nothing. Because guess what? You can have a woman see you do a multitude of different things, and she still don't trust you. You know what I'm talking about? See, again, this goes to a point where a lot of dudes think money gonna make a woman trust you. It's your manhood that's gonna make her trust you. You know what I'm saying? See, the money is a reflection of something else because women want resources. I don't know how we got to 2022 and niggas don't know this because I've known this my entire life. I didn't need nobody to tell me this. I didn't need no great teaching on this. Nigga, that's evident in life. Who wants to be broke? Who wants to rely on a broke person? Nobody wants to do that. See, the baby know that why she laughed. You know what I'm talking about? What type of man have a daughter and say, I want to give her to a broke man so she can struggle? Not you been married, something happens. That's something I told you. I had a conversation with a dude. He was like, what if your husband get incapacitated, this, that, and the third? I'm like, that's an extreme circumstance. That's a different type of circumstances. See, circumstances in life happen. We're not talking about circumstances in life happening and situations change. We talking about starting off with a man who ain't got nothing. And ain't got no desire for nothing. Who wants to give their daughter to that? Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that. But then you got some dudes, they don't give a damn about their churn. And it shows. Praise be to Alahym that Yahuwah is not a man of that sort. You know what I'm saying? We ain't saying that people have to be wealthy and indiscriminately rich, but no, there's not any man on here who got a daughter is not going to tell you that I would want to hand my daughter off to the brokest man I can find because he got an award-winning personality. That's Lizzo talk, boy. I'm fat, but I got a nice personality. Don't nobody want to hear that? Because that's not what I want. So when you look at a woman, she like this here, I don't want to be with you. You ain't got no money. That's what's wrong with these modern women. You are a hoe. You know what I'm talking about? She ain't saying you got to be rich. But golly, nigga, you can't get me a 4 for 4. You ain't got your own place to stay. You can't even pick me up. Unless you live in New York City, man, you can't pick a chick up, man. You doing bad. That means you don't need no woman, man. These dudes don't be caring, and they feel like she should still submit to me. I am a man. I am a man. You should do what I say. And you ain't married to her. She ain't got to listen to you, boy. But one thing I can say, if you that dude, she going to listen to you whether you were married to her or not. See, a lot of dudes will look at, okay, how do you prove if a woman is a wife? Because she's going to behave as a wife before you marry her. And you don't have to compel her to do it. She's already going to do it. You don't have to do anything. She's already going to do it. If she's a wife. You know what I'm talking about? Or she sees this is a man that I need to hold on to. So if you got demands, she gonna meet those demands because she realizes my life is going to be better off with you than not having you. That's why when niggas were like, when Russell Wilson like, my greatest fear is to lose her. This is why this is a beta male sent mangina. This nigga's a hoe. Because she's better off having you. You're not better off having her. She can't give you what you give her. And that doesn't matter if she had a child or not. Her life is elevated because of you. You see how that works with Yahuwah and you? Your life is elevated because of him. You're not elevating him. You think because you taking his name in his mouth and teaching his word that's elevating him? He was elevated before you ever heard of it. He was that dude before you ever heard of him. He don't need you to elevate him. Your life is better with him in it. His life ain't better with you in it. His life was already good. His life was already stupendous and just outright tremendous. You didn't make it any better. He make your life better. John chapter 13, verse 4. See, that's what a lot of brews don't like to realize. They thinking they making Yahuwah life better because I'm in the truth. Sit your ignorant behind down somewhere, boy. You're smoking crack, don't you? Jumped in. That's how you're living. You're living like a crackhead if you thinking that you making somebody who's greater than you better because you dealing with them. You know how foolish that sound, man? Every last one of us can sit back and say, you know for certain your life is better because Yahuwah chose to make himself known unto you. You didn't make yourself known to Yahuwah. He made himself known to you. Let that be known. You know what I'm talking about? He rise up from supper. I'll make it verse 3. Yahusha, knowing that Abba had given all things into his hand, that he was come from Alahym, and went to Alahym. He rise from supper and laid aside his garments and took a towel and girded himself. After he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then he come to Simon Peter, and Peter said unto him, Lord, do you wash my feet? Yahusha answered and said unto him, what I do you know not now, but you shall know hereafter. Peter said unto him, you shall never wash my feet. Yahusha answered him, if I wash you not, you have no part with me. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also hands and head. Yahusha said to him, he that is washed need not save to wash his feet, but he that is clean every whit. And you are clean, but not all. Paul, because I ain't even read the Galatians 4. Come on back over here to Galatians 4. You put that up there and that reminded me. I had not done that. He just threw verse 9 up there and sent it in the lower parts of the earth. Let me get this verse 17 out of the way. You know what he's sitting here telling them? Everybody that is clean don't need to be washed. That takes us back to the point of what? The law's not for a righteous man. Once you see them men had already been washed, he said, but everybody here ain't clean. You know what I'm talking about? Remember, and then the 2 chapters later, he said, you clean from the word that I've spoken unto you. What does it clean? The inward parts. Because that's where he desired wisdom at. Let's continue. That's how he created a clean heart in you. See, people don't want a clean heart. See, spitting word back don't mean you got a clean heart. Posting scriptures and saying stuff don't mean you got a clean heart. You know what I'm talking about? See, I done had this conversation before. See, there's a verse where Paul wrote to the Corinthians. He said, the more I love you, the less I be loved. Remember what we read in that Psalms 35? He said, you reward me evil for good. See, y'all don't even realize in the concept, the more Yahushua loved the house of Yasharal, the less they loved it. You know what I'm talking about? The more he loved them, the less that they loved him back. That's why you love those who are in the body. You show love to sinners because that's what Yahuwah do, because that's putting coals of fire on their head. But I'm here to tell you, because I done had this conversation before. People say, if you just did like this, the Lord, look here, man, they killed that man. You understand me? They killed that man. If they loved the Lord so much and he was spreading all their love, they wouldn't have killed that man. They killed that man. You know what I'm talking about? And was itching to do it. And not only killed him, but they was itching to kill all his disciples. And when I say disciples, I ain't talking about his apostles. I'm talking about everybody who followed him. They wanted to kill them too. And why do they want to kill him? Because he testified their deeds, they evil. You know what I'm talking about? You niggas evil. You don't trust God. You're wicked. You're self-promoters. You wallow in your victimhood. Nigga, get your sorry behind up there and do this man work and stop messing around. I'll see who we think he talking to. Is he talking to us? You gnashing on your teeth because you was a punk and a coward. You know what I'm talking about? And when we talk about cowards, you are afraid of confrontation. And what are you afraid of confronting? Yourself. Majority of men in this generation are afraid of confronting themselves. Every weakness, every flaw, every malady, everything they got in their heart, they afraid to face it. Not understanding that your strength is in the confrontation. If you got the strength to look yourself in the mirror and say anything inside of me that is not the best of me, that will shine the greatness of Yahuwah to anyone I come across, I shall defeat it. And I will defeat it by the word of Alahym, and losing is not an option. You know what I'm talking about? That's not an option. That's not an option. You know what I'm talking about? You're not going to win with that. Man, we got a generation of losers, man. Generations of crybabies who've been coddled. Like that little clip that I put of y'all in the chat with LeBron James, man, that when these boys made this mess up and this nigga walked off the court, that's showing you that is not a man who should be followed. And that shows you that's a man who was raised by a woman, because no matter how bad those men are playing, I'm the head nigga in charge. All y'all look to me. I don't care if we losing or not. And you wonder why certain people don't want to play with this man. Because he all in, just like a woman. She all in when it's good, but when it's bad, she gonna bail. You know what I'm talking about? That's not how you pick up a group of men. That's not how you lead men. I'm gonna walk off on you. Some niggas like, them niggas suck. I do it too. You ain't no leader then. You know what I'm talking about? I wouldn't follow you. I wouldn't want to be nowhere near you. Because that means I can't trust you with my life. When you lead a group of men, them men got to know that they can trust you with their life, good or bad, that you're going to be there with them because they looking at you. And if things go bad and you walk off the court, man, bump you niggas. That's female activity. That jump bigger than basketball. That is a poor example of manhood and masculinity. That is not what you want your son to be. You know what I'm talking about? But that's what happened. That man wasn't raised by no man. He think that's acceptable behavior. Things ain't going my way. I'm going to pout and quit. Man, you got men who knew they were leading armies of men who were inferior to the people they fought. He never let those men know that they were inferior. He knew they were all dying that day. And he was willing to die with his men to give them the courage to be able to keep on fighting. Don't you know when you do junk like that, you discourage your army? I'm not fighting for you. I'm not running through no wall for you because you ain't going to do it for me. So what I'm going to do it for you for? That junk bigger than basketball, man. That's not a man. I don't care how big he is. I don't care how burly he is. I don't give a damn how much money he got. That's not a man, and he shows you that. Matter of fact, he's shown you this multiple times. That's not a man. Men don't behave that way. Especially not when sitting with other men. Don't mean he's a bad dude, but that's not a man. That's not masculinity. That's not the power of manhood. The Lord didn't do that. The apostles was messing up service time. That man didn't do, I'm through with you niggas. Y'all niggas do. I can't win with y'all. I'm out of here. Nah, man. Can't do that. That's poor leadership all the way around the board. You know what I'm saying? But you know why we get that attitude, or why we think that that type of behavior is acceptable? Because we ain't winning, so what I care for? Doesn't matter if you're not winning or not. You the leader, ain't you? Don't want heavy as the head that wears the crown. That's the statement. If you're going to wear the crown, nigga, take everything that come along with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to take everything that come along with it. And we got a generation of men that don't want to do that. They think that's cool to walk out on your soldiers. Them your soldiers. If you put it together and you the leader, them your soldiers, you care for them. You nurture them. You guide them. When they not up to par, you let them know they ain't up to par. You show them how to get up to par. You don't walk off on them. You don't leave them to battle by yourself to save yourself. I can't respect that as a man. I find it deplorable and disgusting. You can't walk away from your soldiers. You die with them. You shed blood with them. Can't do it. Galatians 4:17. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of Alahym through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart, who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness, to work all uncleanliness with greediness. But you have not so learned Mashiach, if so be that you have heard of him, and you have been taught of him, as the truth is in Yahushua, that you put off concerning the former conduct the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust, and be renewed in the ruach of your mind, that you might put on the new man, which after Alahym was created in righteousness and true kadash. You know what I'm saying? That's the part of being washed, because you putting that off. That was the element that John the Baptist was talking about with his immersion. This man coming to baptize you with the ruach hakodesh and with fire. You're going to put something off. This is how the clean heart's going to be created. You're going to have to let go of the old. Matter of fact, before I swing over here to Psalms 119, y'all know what it is. Luke chapter 5, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Luke 5:33. If we talking about making a new heart, it's only right. Staying power going a little bit strong. Nice florals. Luke 5:33. Wherefore they said unto him, excuse me, why do the disciples of John fast often and make prayers, and of the Pharisees, but yours eat and drink? He said unto them, can you make the sons of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then they shall fast in those days. He spake also a parable unto them, no man put a piece of new garment upon an old. If otherwise, then the both new make a rent, and the piece that was out of the new agree not with the old. See, remember what we read earlier? That he say he got to take you from and bring you back to your first estate, but all the stuff he got to do to you before that happened. Because that new not going to agree with the old. That new man ain't going to agree with the old man. See, pause. Come to Romans 8 now. I done referenced it a couple times, but we'll do it again. Shoot, you can pick it up at verse 1. Just hold that Luke 5. We coming right back. Y'all willing, we won't go off into uncharted territories. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Mashiach Yahushua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the ruach. What does that mean? Pause and think upon this. When you look at what happened in the garden, they walked after the flesh and not after the ruach. That's why they were condemned. Do y'all understand what I mean when I say that? Let that be known in the chat if you do not understand what I mean when I say that they were condemned because they walked after the flesh and not after the ruach in the garden. Because we've been talking about what happened in the garden with Adam and Eve. So look at how Yahuwah take things and bring things full circle for our understanding. Who does not understand how they were walking in condemnation in the garden by walking after the flesh and not after the ruach? Who does not understand what that means? Woo. Hips and my quads is on fire. You ever did 4-minute Tabatas squatting? And I think I was supposed to do body weight squats, but I was doing it with 135-pound weight. And 135 pounds ain't a lot of weight, but it is when you do 20 seconds worth of reps and then stop for 10. You know what I'm talking about? And then do 20 seconds worth of reps again for 4 minutes. It's a lot of doggone squat. No, not when they were naked, Shayla. Not when they were naked. Do y'all understand how he says there's no condemnation to them in Mashiach Yahushua who walk not after the flesh, but after the ruach? Do y'all understand that in the garden that they were condemned for walking after the flesh versus walking after the ruach? And do you understand how? Because that's the part that I should have added. How? How so, Saran? How so? Does everybody understand? Does anybody can tell me how so? How were they condemned for walking after the flesh and not the ruach? I'll give you a few minutes. I want to make sure that this one here is clear. Okay, I see why you would say that. Not the direction I was going, but it's not wrong. I see why you would say that. Because they fled, because they were sentenced to death. They walked after the flesh simply because they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You know what I'm saying? And that none of the answers that y'all stating are wrong, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving more context for a more in-depth understanding. You know what I'm saying? See, because they could have ate from the tree of life and walked after the ruach and not been condemned. Remember, their condemnation came because they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That was their condemnation. See, when you walk according to the law, what does the law say? According to Leviticus, that he that keep this law is bound to keep the whole of the law. So if you don't keep the whole of it, you are in the condemnation because, number one, you have violated this covenant, and all those who are under that covenant are condemned. You're already condemned. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say there's no condemnation, because remember, what did we read? Let me give you back Ezekiel 16 real quick. Let me give you back Ezekiel 16 real quick. See, praise Yahuwah. Look at how he takes stuff, and y'all just be thinking I just be rambling sometimes, and this, that, there, and the third, but I don't. Stuff come right back to give you a deeper understanding of what you read. Remember what we seen right here in verse 61 of Ezekiel 16? Then shall you remember your ways and be ashamed when you shall receive your sisters, the elder and your younger, and I will give them unto you for daughters, but not by your covenant. I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall know that I am Yahuwah. Then you shall remember and be confounded, and never open your mouth anymore because of your shame, when I am pacified towards you all for all that you've done, saith Yahuwah Alahym. Well, what about verse 59? For thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, I even deal with you as you have done, but you have despised the oath and breaking the covenant. Nevertheless, I will remember my covenant with you in the days of your youth, and I will establish you an everlasting covenant. You understand? Do y'all see how that works? You see what you got? Yeah, and they did it. You know what I'm saying? But see, they were condemned because, again, if you walk according to the law, you're going to be condemned. Not because that you shouldn't obey it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not because you shouldn't obey it, because there's no justification in it. Remember what Isaiah 53 says. These shall be justified by the knowledge of my righteous servant shall justify many. All this what we discussing is just dealing with washing me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleansing me from my sin. A covenant has to be brought in to be able to do that. I think I started in Zechariah 13 and we end up going back to it when he said he opened up a fountain for uncleanliness and for sin. And that's pertaining to the grave. He had to go in that grave to cleanse you from your sin. See, now come back to Romans 8. I just want y'all to be able to have a law example for what you reading in this epistle letter. You understand? So when he said there's no condemnation to them which walk in Mashiach Yahushua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the ruach. See, Yahushua was a living example of the tree of life. So if you walk after the tree of life, how are you going to be condemned? Because guess what he told them? They could have ate from that tree and they would have not been condemned. They ate from the tree that condemned them. So that's an example of walking after the flesh to the points that all of y'all enumerated. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, giving in to their own desires, things of that sort. That's what lead into that. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Verse 2. For the law of the ruach of life and Mashiach Yahushua have made me free from the law of sin and death. See, boom. Now you see why we're using the trees as the example. The law cannot free you from sin and death. The law can't free you from that. What is the law of sin? If you commit sin, you die. The law can't free you from that. How do we know this? Because you read that he said that we ought to seal up the tree of life lest they eat and do what? Live forever. So that means that tree could have freed them from death, but it wouldn't have freed them from the sin though. Ain't that what it say? He say, lest they eat from it and live forever. So the tree of life could have freed them from the death, but it wouldn't have freed them from the sin. So see, something had to go down with that. Oh, man. That's what I mean with these boys. These boys ain't tapped into actually being committed and disciplined to Yahuwah's word and having the work ethic to consume him, not to consume precepts to give to other people. That they'll never be able to understand the nuance of this man's goodness and righteousness. This man say, ain't nowhere in the world. I'm going to free you from death, but you're going to be a perpetual sinner. That means I got to come up with another way to kill you. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm going to protect you by hiding this here so I can free you from both. Let the Lord be a stick. See, these boys don't pay attention to that. That's why I don't take them seriously. That's why I say these boys' work is trash. It's useless. If you're talking about gaining everlasting life, now if you're talking about some other matters, it could very well be useful. When I say somebody's work is trash, I'm talking about to seek to live forever. That's what I'm talking about. That's the only thing I'm talking about when I say, oh, no, but it's trash. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about living forever, oh, that's trash. Point blank, period. You come to me talking about a flat earth, I'm going to say that work is trash. You come to me talking about polygyny, your work is trash. You come telling me I need to go make a community and live out in the middle of the woods, and I'm doing the work of Yahuwah, your work is trash. I'm not going to live forever off of that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to live forever off of that. That's not going to give me what I'm looking for. I'm looking to live forever. I told you the other day, and I'll say it again, and I'm probably going to say it often to the offense of many. Kingdom building, nation building, that's nigga talk. Where you seen Yahushua told you the nation build? You can't build a nation. It ain't your nation to build. That's his nation. That don't belong to you. You ain't see him tell. The only way you build a nation is being fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm talking about? You don't build no nation. That ain't your job. He never commissioned you to do that, boy. I'm kingdom building. You ain't building no dominion. The dominion already been built. You adding people to come under the dominion. I'm doing kingdom work. What does that even mean? I ain't doing nothing but the work of an unprofitable servant. That would ought to be coming out of their mouth. I'm just doing the work of my master. I'm just going where my master send me to go, doing what my master tell me to do, and saying what my master tell me to say. Is that not what your Lord and master said of his father? He said, my father give me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know his commandment is life everlasting. That's what your Lord and master said. Why you not saying the same? He wasn't walking around here talking about I'm kingdom building. He said, I'm building a house. That's what he said. Build my house, right or wrong. He said, Peter, upon this rock, I'm going to build my house. That's what he told you to do. I'd give you that if you say you was house building. If you was working on building your father's house, you wouldn't hit no dispute from me. But you nation building, and you think you nation building by acquiring resources? Nigga, that's insane. You know what I'm talking about? I told my man this other day, no, me and Eastern had this conversation plenty of time. These niggas be on some other John, man, you ain't winning no souls with no praise and worship music, my G. You ain't winning no souls with no truth music or whatever you want to call it. You ain't winning no souls with that, because that music is already prepared for souls who are already believing. Niggas really think sinners want to sing songs about Yahuwah. No, they want to sing the new Pooh Shiesty. They want to sing the new Gucci Man. That's what they want to do. Ain't no sinner walking around talking about, yeah, I'm going to hit. Oh, no, I don't want to hear that. This music condemned. Yeah, who is that? I don't care nothing about that. Man, I'm finna go. You think this nigga finna go kill a nigga? He finna throw that in? And now all of a sudden, oh, I ain't gonna kill him. He's singing about the Lord. You really believe that? You stupid if you believe that. The music that brothers like East End make, man, that's for people who already believe. You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe, that music ain't for you. These dudes, we gonna take over the airwaves. Stop lying to yourself. Them people don't want to hear. Niggas in this word is so stupid that they think that people would rather hear the music than the actual hear the word. If they don't want to hear the word, what makes you think they want to hear the music? If they don't want to conform themselves to the righteousness and kadoshness of the everlasting Alahym, the creator of Shamahim and Arat, what make you think they want to hear the music? Do you understand that the world hate this man and everything that he stands for? Man, let me tell y'all something, man. I see all type of comments, man. Y'all be surprised how many black people hate this man. You'll be surprised how many black people have an utter disdain and despising of the word. But these people think this thing is a fairy tale and foolishness for you to even be involved with. Y'all just don't really realize the underlying hatred that many people who look like you have for the word of Yahuwah. Y'all would not even believe. I'm talking about, and they not hiding it no more. These people not hiding it no more. Y'all thinking, oh, these white folks, this, that, then. No, man, these black folks hate this man. Hate this man. And y'all around here thinking, oh, black people, this, that, and the third, they killing us, man. Who are killing these people? You don't even know how these people feel about this man in their heart. Man, a lot of these people utterly despise this man. They talk down on this man. They blaspheme his name. They disrespect his word. Imagine if somebody looked you in your face every day and told you you didn't exist and F what you stand for. Every day to your face. That's what's going on. That's what's going down out here every day. And y'all around here thinking because we black, these people love this man. These people hate this man in their soul. They hate this man in their soul. See, the difference with some of y'all is y'all just was living aimlessly. You ain't really have no hatred for Yahuwah. You wasn't thinking about Yahuwah to hate him. These are people who consciously and openly express their hatred for your God. You understand me? For your power, for your maker. Openly express it. And y'all think it's a game. Y'all walk around here in La La Land. What they doing to that baby? What they doing to that baby? 8:3. Romans 8:3. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Alahym sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh. This is going to take us to another point that's in Psalm 51, Yahuwah willing on tomorrow. That the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the ruach. For they that are of the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the ruach, the things of the ruach. You have to understand and know that. People who are of the world care about the things of the world. People who are the flesh care about the desires of the flesh. That's what they care about. That's what you saw with Eve with her statement. That's why the Apostle John wrote to you to don't love the world or the things in it, because the things of the world are the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. And that's not of Abba and Shamahim. You're not walking by the ruach if you caught up with that. See, that's what some of these brews in, because I was talking with my man the other day, man. What I think that was Tuesday. You know what I'm talking about? And that's something that it always bothered him. See, that's what a lot of brews use to convince you that you got to be po in the word. Because that's something that bothered my homeboy a lot. You know what I'm talking about? And I can say this here. See, he was raised by a strong man. And who was raised by a strong man. And he had access to both of these strong men. So he had a different mentality coming in the word because he was raised by a man. So when he seen certain things, it offended his sensibilities because it went against how he was instructed as a man. You know what I'm talking about? And one of those things is ain't nobody saying you got to be indiscriminately wealthy, but you telling people to be broke and that it's righteousness in being poor. And I'm telling you, it's dudes who say that because they're losers and they need you to be a loser with them. Because it's not about the money, it's about the mentality of a loser. Do you know what I'm talking about? Losers complain. Losers point fingers. Losers start and start something and quit it and start something else. That's what losers do because it's a lack of commitment. Winners commit and ride things out. Now, of course, there's times in life where you got to pivot. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. You also got to have enough wisdom to know this is losing. Let me stop and go do something else. You know what I'm saying? So that's a different deal. But I'm talking about just in general. You know what I'm talking about? But you got to look at that, man. They want to tell you to live a substandard life and be comfortable with that because that's what they're comfortable with. And that ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right at all. You know what I'm talking about? Tell a man, be poor. We supposed to be poor. That man never told nobody they supposed to be poor. He said there will be poor. And that's to see if you'll have the mercy and compassion of Yahuwah upon the poor. That's what they there for. You know what I'm talking about? He that lendeth unto the poor, lend to his maker. He said, if you did it to the least of these, you did it unto me. See, them boys don't even get the understanding of why there'll be poor in the land. And of course, in the land was referring to your land. You should have put compassion to the poor around you in the word. That's a part of yourself. How you don't love yourself? That's what I be meaning when we all come together, it shouldn't be no focus on let me take care of my family first. Everybody in there, your family. If you got it in your mind that I got to deal with my family first, you in violation of the word. Because now you're not moving with one heart and one mind and one consent. You're moving separately from the body because you only focus on yourself. That's not a Yahuwah. That's not how you operate. He ain't taught you that. He ain't showed you that. He never instructed you on that. That's your own stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he gave that example when Paul said, oh, you niggas coming to the feast and you got food for yourself. You ain't thought about nobody else. He said, you might as well stay home. You can eat and drink at the house. What you came here for. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have brothers who push the Acts 2 so hard by having all things in common. You ain't supposed to sit back and look at that. Nothing is yours. You supposed to understand that when it comes to certain necessities, man, look here, that's my people. If I got it, you got it. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. We only get like that because survival mode go to kicking in. And when survival mode kick in, you get selfish. You know what I'm talking about? That's all that is. That's why you don't never want to be in survival mode. Survival mode is not a mode that you want to be in. Because you're not going to operate at the optimal levels of love. You're not going to operate at the optimal levels of yourself. You're not going to realize it in the midst of it. You won't realize it until the time has passed. And you're like, you know what? I definitely could have handled that a little better. You know what I'm saying? Because when survival mode kick in, you trying to survive. That's the only place where your mind is at. And I understand. You know what I'm talking about? You got to understand. We all done been there. Well, I ain't going to say we all. Hopefully, ain't none of y'all been there. But if you've been there, you understand. You know what I'm talking about? See, I've been in that mode when I was in the street. So you dealing with savages, dealing with survival. They willing to do anything to survive to anybody at any time. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no way to be, man. I'm here to tell you, that ain't what you want out your life. That junk is not good. Come on, right, man. Let's get ready to get out of here, right? Verse 5, right? Verse 6, actually, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and shalom. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Alahym, for it is not subject to the law of Alahym, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Alahym. Come on back to Luke 5. That's what he said back and they tell you that new not going to agree with the old. That's what you've seen in the Ezekiel 16. That new wasn't going to agree with the old. They were going to be diametrically opposed. That's why he said, not according to your covenant. He said, I'm going to make a new one, everlasting. See, we could take that back to the garden also, because they made a covenant with death. He said, no, that's your covenant. I didn't make a covenant with death. You did that. So I'm going to get rid of that, make you an everlasting. Let me give you that Isaiah 28 for those of y'all who don't know what I'm talking about. Because I wager it might be somebody. 28 and 18 for those who don't know. You can make it 28 and 16. Isaiah 28, 16. Yahuwah is merciful. His mercy is encoded all through the text in a multitude of ways that individuals just grossly overlook. You know what I'm saying? And they overlooking it because they're not looking for it. See, I'm going to tell you right this here, right? The people who looking for it is like what Yahushua said to them scribes and Pharisees when he said, hey, man, the baptism of John, is it from heaven or was it of men? And they say, if we say of heaven, he going to say why you didn't believe him. But we say of men, they going to say, well, the people hold him as a prophet. They might stone us. He said, we can't tell. And he said, you know what? He said, the publicans and the harlots going to enter into the kingdom before you because they believed on John by way of righteousness. And you heard and didn't repent that you might be saved. See, the people who know that they should be dead and have done things that I should be dead and on my way to hell for it, they value this man's mercy a way, way more. See, that's what you see in that Luke chapter 7. When they say, he that loveth little, little is forgiven. You know what I'm talking about? When that woman was washing his feet with her tears and drying it with the hairs of her head. He said, this woman's sins of many are forgiven, for she loved much. So those individuals who know that they know that they're desirous of his mercy, when they begin to see they begin to see that more because they appreciate it more, they desire it more, they want it more. See, niggas who really evil as hell, and when I say hell, I mean evil as the grave, because the grave is an evil thing. You know what I'm talking about? They're not looking for it because they have no desire to live. See, when you have a desire to live, then you seek mercy from the life giver. You understand? See, these people not seeking no mercy from this man because they have no desire to live. You got niggas say, I ain't gonna beg for my life. I'm not gonna see most people, they're not gonna ask for repentance. Why you think when he say they bring it on, do y'all not understand that that's gonna be real people that this man gonna be bringing plagues on and they still gonna be blaspheming his name and won't repent for their sorceries, their murders, their idolatries, their wickedness? They not gonna turn. Y'all think that's just some pages? That's really gonna happen. It's people you know. It's somebody you love that when these plagues come on their head, they gonna blaspheme this man's name. You understand me? I'm talking about mamas and aunties, daddies and uncles, sons or daughters, good friends and all. They gonna say, F you, I hate him. He ain't God. Why? What God would do this? They gonna blaspheme his name. You understand me? Because they hate this man to the depths of their soul, and they hate him for nothing. He ain't never did nothing to these people. He ain't did nothing but give them life. He ain't nothing but give them an opportunity to get everlasting life. He ain't did nothing but give them the opportunity to be forgiven, and they don't want it. You know what I'm saying? They don't want it. They don't want it at all. And we don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. Amen. They don't want to hear that. I know it's hard. You know what I'm saying? I know it's hard for people to deal with that, man. You know what I'm talking about? But it's reality, though. See, I'm not the one to cut no corners, man. Pinch no pennies or none of that. Because I'm not trying to be accepted. Like I hear people say, this Hebrew community, that's where you messed up at. I ain't part of no Hebrew community. I'm just a part of the body of Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I'm not trying to be part of no Hebrew community. I'm trying to be a part of the body of Mashiach. So I don't want to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Because he never told me to be a part of a Hebrew community. He said it's one heart, one mind, one body, one faith, one immersion. That's what he told me. You know what I'm talking about? So that's all that I'm concerned with. So because that's what I'm concerned with, that's not why I've been concerned with fitting in with none of these dudes. It's not that I'm going to shun them or I wouldn't talk with them or deal with them. It's just that I'm not seeking their acceptance. I don't care about seeking their acceptance. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's none of my concern. My only concern is to be accepted by Alahym. Is that not what he instructs? Don't we read it every single solitary service? We have service 3 times a week. We have service half the year, literally. We literally open up this trap house half the year, literally over 180 times in a calendar year, every single solitary year. You know what I'm talking about? And every single solitary times, 180 times out of a calendar year, you hear, how can you believe that seek honor one from another and not the honor that comes from Alahym only? You know what I'm saying? That's the only honor and esteem that you need to be seeking. And that's it. You don't need to be seeking nothing else. Let's continue. Isaiah 28:16. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believes shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, righteousness to the plummet. Hell shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. He said, I'm going to break your covenant with death, and your agreement with the grave will not any longer stand. When they sat down and ate from that tree, they made an agreement with the grave. He told you in the law, choose life and death, and you chose death. You made an agreement with the grave. So this is the covenant that you made. That's what he means when he say, not according to your covenant. He wasn't talking about no covenant that he made with you in the wilderness. That's his covenant. He talking about the covenant with death you made. He said, I'm going to go ahead and break that for you. And I'm going to make an everlasting covenant with you. And you're going to be ashamed for what you've done. That's what you've seen with Adam and Eve when you look in that garden, in that story in Genesis 3, they were ashamed. Because when your nakedness appear, your shame appear. Luke 5, man. See, they don't want to hear stuff like that because this ain't nothing that's gonna get controversial to where you're gonna get a lot of engagement. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of dudes, they looking for engagement, fights in the comments, in the live chats. You know what I'm talking about? Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the case may be. That's what people looking for. You know what I'm saying? That's what people looking for. We ain't looking for none of that. I don't care. One thing you have to be in life is being willing to not have an overwhelming desire to belong. You know what I'm saying? When you pay attention, a real man does not have it. He will belong to people who share ideals as he does, but he doesn't have an overwhelming desire to belong to a group. You know what I'm saying? When you see you know what I'm saying? When like the text tell you this, right? Broad is the way. That as a man, when you see everybody going all in the same direction, you're supposed to test that to make sure that these people are not running to death. You ain't supposed to run that way with them because that's where everybody. Because when you're doing that because you have a desire to belong, which means you have a desire to be validated, which means you ain't validated within yourself, and that's a problem. Especially if you say you holding the word, because your validation should come from your husband and your husband alone. Your validation should come from Alahym, not from other men. I don't need no other man to validate me. Yahuwah gonna validate me when I enter into the room. And just like Yahuwah gonna validate them to let me know these are men that you can interact with. These men are solid. Yahuwah gonna do the validating. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't got to do no validating. Yahuwah gonna do all the valid, but he's not gonna do it in how you think. It's just gonna be manifested and plain that these men are of me. And it's fine for you to operate with them. It's just going to be made, man. He's going to make sure he's going to make that manifest. See, that's where you don't get caught up in certain doctrinal disagreements. Okay, you don't agree with that, but it's evident that Yahuwah is validating this man based on how he moves and how he lives his life, how he interacts with others, not necessarily his doctrine. And most of the times when you got somebody who you can see that Yahuwah is validating, your doctrinal differences ain't even that far apart. You know what I'm talking about? They ain't even really that, you know what I'm talking about, at the opposite end of the spectrum in that regard. If you got the mind and heart of Yahuwah and you look upon men to see if Yahuwah is in their heart based off their conversation. When I say conversation, the way that they live. You know what I'm saying? But dudes ain't looking for that. You looking strictly off doctrine. You ain't looking to see if the word in that man's heart. That's what's wrong with these dudes, man. I'm not trying to be fooled up with niggas like that because it's not sincere. You know what I'm saying? It's not genuine. You ain't a genuine man. What would I want to be around a man who are faking a phony with himself? I don't care if he faking phony with me, nigga. You phony with yourself. You know what I'm talking about? That's not going to hurt my feelings if you faking phony with me because that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm talking about? But if you faking phony with yourself, well, you a dangerous man. If you can be phony with yourself, if you can be fake with yourself, you are a dangerous man. I don't want to be fooled up with you. See, you got people who can be faking phony with you, but they ain't faking phony with themselves. They know that they know what type of nigga they is and how they move and how they live and how they interact. But when somebody faking phony with themselves, well, that's a dangerous man. That's a dangerous man. You don't realize when you look at Judas, he was being faking phony with himself. You see what he did. That's a dangerous man. That's not a man you want to be dealing with. Most of these Hebrews are faking phony with themselves. I don't want nothing to do with that. That man told you to stay away from stuff like that, not to run and be integrated in with it. Thinking you're doing some great work, you fooling yourself. Then you turn around and get mad at them for being who they was. That's who the man been the whole time. And you knew he was like that. But you still thought that, just like a woman, I can love him right. If I just be his brother, he'll get together. No, he ain't gonna get together, brother. That nigga gonna kill you, boy. And you know he gonna kill you. And you gonna hand the knife to the man who gonna stab you with it. You don't be the one handed to him. Because you ain't have enough wisdom and foresight to see it happen before it happened. Luke 5:36, man. And he spake also a parable unto them. No man put a piece of new garment upon an old. If otherwise, then the new make a rent, and the piece that was out of the new agree not with the old. No man put new wine in the old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottle shall perish. But the wine must be put in the new bottles, and both are preserved. No man having drunk old, straightway desire new, for he say the old is better. Let's look and see if they got the a Greek equivalent for live, for preserved in this Luke. Because we know preserved in Hebrew, that junk, that's going to come up to life. And when we look at preserved, and it's sum te roho, to preserve a thing from perishing or to be lost. But most importantly, to keep oneself, to keep in mind a thing lest it be forgotten, to remember, to and obey. So when you sit back and look at it, right, he said a new wine got to be put into a new bottle so that individual can keep that word. Remember what Hebrews say, we ought to remember the things that we've heard, lest they what? Slip. Lest they slip. These, whether you realize it or not, these are things that all that are processed into, you can come to Psalms 51:3, processed into creating a clean heart in the individual. These are all the things that go along with that. 51:3 says, for I acknowledge my transgressions, my sin is ever before me. And that's what goes back to what we read in Ezekiel 16. You acknowledge your sin because they're before you, they're in front of you. Against you only have I sinned and done this evil in your sight, that you might be justified when you speak and be clear when you judge. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and sin did my mother conceive me. That's what we're going to stop. Because I told you that part was in there, and we're going to deal with that because we dealt with it the last time we dealt with Psalms 51, which is a while ago. But of course, let me ask y'all this question. How many of you are familiar with the Catholic doctrine of original sin? Let that be known in the chat. Who is familiar with the Catholic doctrine of original sin? Who is familiar with the doctrine of original sin? Just by show of hands or whatever you want. Okay, you are not. It's a Catholic doctrine. I said you may have heard the term, but it's a Catholic doctrine. So whether you are or aren't, just let that be known in the chat. That'll detail how deep in that matter that we delve into that. So I take it my brother Reynolds is the only person that may not be familiar. Some of you may remember from the last time we dealt with this because we talked about it before. It's just been a while. Okay, Christina is not. I'll share y'all with it real quick, like in their words, what that is. It'd be better because they just had Lent. They still in Lent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lent. If you don't know what Lent is, that's when you see the people walking around with the cross on their forehead for 40 days. Of course, y'all should know. Yeah, that's their preparation for Easter because them 40 days is for them weeping for Tammuz. And then, of course, when they get ready for Easter, of course, that's the resurrection of the sun because Tammuz is a sun god. Yeah, they do give up stuff for 40 days, and it's really for the weeping of Tammuz. This is what they say. What is original sin? Original sin is the Augustine Christian doctrine that says that everyone is born sinful. That means that they are born with the built-in urge to do bad things and to disobey God. It's an important doctrine within the Catholic Church. Here it is. Original sin is the Christian doctrine that holds that humans through the fact of birth, inherited tainted nature in need of regeneration, and a proclivity to sinful conduct. The biblical basis for this belief are generally found in Genesis chapter 3, in lines with Psalms 51 and 5. I was brought forth in iniquity, and sin did my mother conceive me. Paul's epistle in Romans 5, therefore sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, and this that in the third, the belief began to emerge in the 3rd century, but only became fully formed with the writings of Augustine of Hippo, who was the first author to use the phrase original sin. In Latin, it was peccatum originale. Influenced by Augustine, the councils of Carthage and Orange brought theological speculation about origin of sin to the official lexicon of the church. Protestant reformers such as Martin Luther and John Calvin equated original sin with conspicuous or hurtful desire, affirming that it persisted even after baptism, and completely destroyed freedom to do good, proposing that original sin involved the loss of free will except to sin. The Janus movement, which the Roman Catholic Church declared heretical in 1653, also maintained that original sin destroyed freedom of will. Instead, the Catholic Church declares that baptism, by imparting the life of Christ's grace, erases original sin, turns man back towards God, but the consequences for nature and weak and inclined to evil persist in man and summon him to a spiritual battle. And weakened and diminished by Adam's fall, free will is yet not destroyed in the race. As you can tell, that is pure unadulterated folly. You know what I'm talking about? And all of it is grossly against the doctrine of Alahym considerably. And we will discuss what Psalms 51 and 5 means, of where they take the basis of their folly. And we will give you an understanding of it, that you fully understand that these people are liars and that you should take nothing that they say seriously in any shape, form, or fashion. We give all praise, esteem, and honor to the living Alahym and say hallelujah for Yahusha and the word. I appreciate y'all time this evening. Bless y'all at the house of Alahym in the name of Yahusha. Yeah, you know, we went through a couple things, mentioned a few things here and there, man. But at the end of the day, everything that we discussed this evening, if you pay attention to it, look closely, is all pointing us to the particular matter of creating in yourself a clean heart. And it's a process of regeneration. And that process is just putting off the old man, which is really changing the way that you think. Going from thinking according to the desires of the flesh to the will of Alahym, taking off your mind and putting on the mind of Yahusha, man. Man, this way of life is easy, man. Life is hard. You know what I mean? Yeah, y'all willing, we're going to deal with Psalm 51 and 5 on tomorrow. And like I said, man, I just realized how to use that playlist thing. So anything that has more than one part, there'll be a playlist for it. So this video and Wednesday's video are in a playlist. It says Psalms 51. I'll just name it after the chapter. Not going to do anything extravagant or detailed. Make it very easy for you to find it and stuff like that. So from this day forth, Yahuwah permit, anything that got more than one part to be put in the playlist. If you go on the channel, hit playlist, you'll see it. Nothing's going to be cross-mixed. Everything that's just dealing with that particular thing. One day, if Yahuwah permit, I'll sit down and go through this junk, and anything that got a part, just make a playlist for all of them. But nevertheless, yeah, that original sin, that's just because what they just told you is you don't have the ability to resist the flesh. That's what that original sin doctrine just told you, that you don't have. But like I said, we'll make it clear, understand, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people feel like this here. You're not born sinful. I will leave you with this here. Ecclesiastes 7 say, Yahuwah made man upright. Man sought out many inventions. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah made you straight. You chose not to be. You know what I'm talking about? Don't put that on him. See, people disgust my soul. You know what I mean? So you got to be all in, man. I praise Yahuwah, man. I've been all in for 13 years, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about all in. I'm all in. I'm talking about all in, but I believe every single solitary thing this man say. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no, is it? Maybe? No, none of that. Ain't none of that. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't none of that. I don't care what I got to experience, go through, or deal with. That don't change, negate the fact that this man ain't lied. My life situation and circumstance ain't got nothing to do about what he said. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't got nothing to do with none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't let what happens to me dictate how I feel, think, or believe on what he said. You know what I'm saying? What he said is what he said. He ain't going back on that. I'm certified in that. I rest easily with that. Sleep well with it. My soul is at peace with that. Because I know it's the truth. There's no plan, man. Maybe. Nah, ain't none of that. You got to be one cowardly whole nigga to judge, to weigh this man's word based off your life situation and circumstance. You a man I don't respect or trust. You know what I'm talking about? Because you ain't a reliable man. So I wouldn't expect you to understand a reliable Alahym. I wouldn't expect you to understand a reliable God if you ain't a reliable man. I wouldn't expect you to understand a dependable God if you ain't a dependable man. I wouldn't expect you to be a stand-up guy if you don't understand a stand-up God. I wouldn't expect you to understand that. You know what I'm saying? When you understand the principles of manhood that this man has espoused and he lives by himself, it's easy to understand him for who he is and to have the utmost respect for him and to follow him wherever he goes. That's why those men were willing to follow him. Again, I'm talking about, you got to also remember that it had to be a mother in heaven, a bunch of single mother raised cowards that they feel like there had to be a woman up there with him. You know what I'm saying? Get off your mama titty, boy. What was that woman? If there was a mother God up there, what was she going to be able to teach Yahusha? Not nothing. Not nothing. Not nothing of any relevance or pertinence. That's why he say, my father has shown me everything that he do that the son may do likewise. That man was raised by a man, taught by a man, guided and disciplined by a man. You know what I'm talking about? So when he step on the earth, he's going to be the epitome of masculinity and the hallmarks of what men regard to be important. A man was a man of character, dignity, and honor, and a man of his word. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at that, it's easy for me to follow this man to the death. That's why these people follow this man who followed him. That's why Peter was willing to kill and die for him. He knew what type of man he was following behind. I'm willing to die for a man like this. Is nothing. I know this man will never turn his back on me in battle because I know he ain't a man that's going to turn his back on his word. That's why Jonathan could ride with David and David rode with him. I heard that. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Lisa. A lot of men don't even know that. That's why a lot of these niggas so big of cowards and worship at the footstool of vagina. That's why they quick to say Jonathan and David was gay. Talking about the love path for a woman, because you hold a woman in such high regard. You don't know what it's like to have a brother who love you in that fashion that you be willing to lay your life down for him, because you niggas stuck on your mama. Since you ain't love your daddy, you don't understand what that type of love mean to love your brother in that fashion. Because you got to equate everything according to a love of a woman, because your daddy didn't love your mama, nigga. Because your mama wasn't lovable. You know what I'm talking about? It's okay. It's okay. See, like I say, we don't say that. That's gonna hurt somebody's feelings. Oh well, it done already happened. You know what I'm talking about? It's a lot of dudes walking around here. They mad with their daddy. You know what I'm saying? They mad with him. I wasn't never mad with man. For what? You know what I'm talking about? I'm made in his likeness and his image. I hate him. I hate myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what he did or didn't do, wouldn't do, what couldn't do. Don't make no difference to me. You know what I'm saying? I hate this man. I mean, I hate myself. I thank the Lord for allowing me to understand that. I can't hate myself. That's just like I said, how am I hating my wife? I hate my wife. I hate myself. That don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? If I do X, Y, Z to mature, that means I hate myself. Them children are part of me. That's my literal seed, my literal DNA. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I meant when I told you this here, man. You don't do nothing for the woman or for the child. Because if you do for them, you're doing for yourself. So you don't got to do it for them. Anything I'm doing for me. They get the byproduct of what I'm doing because they are part of me. They're an extension of me. So I'm just like, F the kids, F my wife. But I mean, that's how I feel about myself. That's why you see Yahusha operate. That man ain't never do none of that because that's not how he feel. I love my Yahusha love himself, so of course he gonna love his wife. Nigga, I don't hate myself. That's why you see people act the way that they act because they hate themselves. That's why you see these dudes crying about women all day. They hate themselves. That's why they hate the woman, and not hate in the aspect of hatred moved by anger, but the resentment and hurt that they have for themselves. They see that in the woman because they see themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they got a problem with it. I told Will the other day. I told him this in the past. You know what I'm saying? You can't always sit down in front of people and psychoanalyze them, man. You know how offensive that is to people, man? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all really know how offensive that is to people? Because they're going to be like, nigga, how you know me like that? Human nature is human nature. It ain't changed. It's been the same since he made Adam from the dust of the ground. And it's going to be the same till he cracked that sky and the moon and sun don't give his light. You know what I'm saying? Human nature is human nature. Human psychology is human psychology. It don't change. You know what I'm saying? People is the same. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Because most people don't want to have that level of insight. And most people and it's not going to make you such a great man if you have that level of insight. It's just understanding life and how people react to outside stimuli. That's all it really is. Understanding factors and how factors affect people. You know what I'm talking about? Then when you see how it affects people, you get an understanding of people. You don't walk around here mad at people about the things that they do or don't do because you're trying to seek to understand, well, what got you there? You know what I'm saying? Even evil niggas, I can understand how I got you there. I'm just not going to fool with you. You know what I'm saying? See, certain people do. I'm just going to keep you over there with what you got going on because you did that. You know what I'm saying? See, that's one thing that people don't know. And once you cross me, man, and show yourself to be dishonorable, I'm done with you. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not fooling with you no more. You stay over there with that. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't no disrespect, ain't no angst, ain't no none of that. I'm not finna do nothing evil to you, but you lying to yourself if you think I'm going to fool with you because you done showed yourself to be dishonorable. And I refuse to keep company with dishonorable men. I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm absolutely not going to do it under any situation and circumstance. You know what I'm talking about? And once you show yourself to be dishonorable, nigga, you dead to me. No funeral. You know what I'm talking about? As far as I'm concerned. That's over with. I'm not rocking with you. You need something, I got you, because it's still love. Because if it got to that point, that mean I had love for you. And I'm going to still have love for you. But I don't fool with you. Same way you die, I ain't going to your grave. I still love you, but I can't fool with you. You're unclean. You're in the grave. You dishonor yourself. You unclean to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fooling with you. You stay over there with that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not rocking with that. Because anybody who will dishonor themselves, you know what I'm talking about? In regards to how they deal with another man, get you killed. And they'll get anybody around you killed. And I don't want that around me. I'm straight on that. You know what I'm talking about? Not with it, not gonna do it. Don't care what nobody think about it. Not doing it. You know what I'm talking about? You a nigga and you got a problem with a nigga and you ain't gonna go talk to him about it. You dishonoring yourself. You know what I'm talking about? And you know why you dishonoring yourself? Because you really ain't got a problem with that man. Because if you did, you would have went and talked to him. If you really had a problem. If it really was an issue. If it was really real, you would go holler at that man. It ain't real. That's why you ain't hollered at that man. You know what I'm talking about? So you dishonored yourself. You're not worthy of being acknowledged as a man. You know what I'm talking about? That's what women do. You know what I'm talking about? The reason why I say that, because if you got a problem with a man and you really got love for that man, you're going to want to fix that because you love that man. You know what I'm talking about? So when you do that, that means you don't really love that man. So that means you were dishonoring yourself the whole time by acting like you love somebody who you didn't love. That's dishonorable as a man. That's what let me just, so you can understand this. These are the precepts and principles that I was taught as a young man, that what we live by coming up as jits, as we were finding out our way. If you got a problem with a man and you don't holler at that man, that means you ain't had no love for that man. Because if you love a nigga, boy, you gonna go holler at that man. Because your love for that man is greater than the issue. You know what I'm talking about? The love is greater than the issue. You not gonna let no issue come in between the love. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I was taught. I don't know what y'all was taught. That's what I was taught. That's what the niggas in my neighborhood, that's what they told us, man. That's how we interacted as friends, as young men, that no issue is greater than the love, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what the niggas in the neighborhood told us, man. No issue is greater than the love. If that's your homeboy, if that's your nigga, if you with this nigga every day, nothing should come in between the love. That's what we were told. You know what I'm saying? I live by that, man. Ain't nothing coming in between the love, man. Ain't no amount of money, no woman, no issue, no slight, no nothing you could come up with should be able to come in between the love. If it can come in between it, that means it wasn't no love there. You know what I'm saying? And if you can be in my face and there wasn't no love there and then act a particular way later, then I can't fool with you, man. You a dishonorable man. Now look here, right? It could be an issue and you don't say nothing and they come out later, but y'all have a conversation. I could deal with that. Because the nigga say, well, why you just ain't say nothing? Well, man, it was this, that, there, and the third, bro, whatever the case may be. I can deal with that. I told y'all that before when I was up the road, man, dude, man, I was doing the bid with the whole time, and he had mentioned something. I say, bro, you should have been said something. If you felt like, man, I don't want you to sell me these sandwiches like this, because you my nigga, I don't give a damn about no money from no sandwiches, bro. I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? You more important than some money I can make off a sandwich. You more important than that. He said, I feel. I said, but in my neighborhood, we ain't do that. But he ain't know we ain't from the same city. I'm like, bro, we've been doing the bid with each other for 3 years now, bro. Think I give a damn about a sandwich? Nigga, I just was conducting business. You know what I'm saying? But we have been bidding, so we have been breaking bread with each other the whole time. But bro, but my love for you bigger than a sandwich, bro. It's bigger than a couple dollars to make off a sandwich. I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care nothing about that. It's about the love, man. The love is the most important thing. I can't look a man in the face and say I love him and then not mean that. So if I say that and I mean that, that means I don't want nothing to come in between the love. So if a nigga can sit back and say he love you and got a problem with you and tell everybody else and don't come talk to you about it, that man ain't have no love for you. Therefore, you a dishonorable man as far as I'm concerned. And I agree wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never, the love, guess what? You can fall out. Y'all can have a disagreement. You can not see eye to eye, and it ain't going to matter because at the end of the day, that's my brother. I love him. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't going to matter. You think some of the niggas I grew up with, niggas ain't had didn't always see eye to eye. That junk don't matter. Nigga might not talk to each other for a minute. But guess what, though? I'll split a nigga wig about it. You know what I'm saying? That's still my brother. I still love him. Don't nothing change that. Don't nothing change that. Unless he do something egregious. You know what I'm saying? Like touch churn or something. You know what I'm talking about? And we know that ain't happening. You know what I'm talking about? So when I come in the word and I see niggas, these niggas don't really love niggas for real. You know what I'm saying? They don't really love niggas for real because they let the most insignificant things come in between that. You know what I'm talking about? So most of them, they come in the word, man. That's why when they see how this man love us, they can't understand it. They can't pick it up. They can't see it in the text. They can't see it. Niggas thinking like this here. Niggas think love is co-signing all the sucker nigga stuff niggas be doing, man. You know what I'm talking about? They think that love. Going along with everything you got going on. That ain't love, man. Nigga, that's whole stuff, man. Nigga, guess what, bro? I can disagree with a decision you make and still love you and you still be my homeboy. It's not that deep. I don't agree with what you did, bro. What you doing tomorrow, though? I ain't walking around like this here. I hate this nigga. This nigga did this here. He ain't agree with me. All right, bro. I don't agree with that move, bro. I don't think that was a wise move. I don't agree with that. That don't mean I don't love you. I don't agree with that. I love you enough to tell you I don't agree with that. Period, point blank. You know what I'm saying? These niggas on different time. I'm telling you this here, man, because I want you to become one with the love of Yahuwah. When you begin to understand it, you see his love everywhere and you conduct yourself differently. You know what I'm saying? And if you look a man in the face and you tell him you love him, I hope you mean that. And I hope you wouldn't let nothing come in between that love. You know what I'm saying? Nothing should come in between love, man. Love should be greater than any aspect of anything you got, any disagreement, any issue, any matter, any of that. Well, the love is supposed to be greater than that. It's supposed to be greater than that if it's genuine. If you love a nigga for real, man, ain't nothing coming in between that, man. Nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I could be upset. Yeah, it don't matter. Well, I still love that nigga, though. I'm not letting that come, because at the end of the day, man, life too short to be letting foolishness come in between somebody you say you love, man, unless you didn't love them. And when I say that, I'm talking about brothers. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about your spouse, your children, all that, man. Ain't that what he told you? Love never fail. Ain't that what the man told you? Oh, play with it then. You know what I'm talking about? Let Yahuwah be esteemed in all things, man, by the way of son, man. You know, the word of Yahuwah is great. Always has been, always will be. Yahuwah willing to tomorrow. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? That's some presentation for you right there, man. You know what I'm saying? That's some presentation. That's nice right there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't mind me. It's a new fragrance, man. I'm getting my first test out, man. You know, this ain't a complete wearing or nothing. Dude was messing with me other night. He talking about, I told him, I said, I really enjoy that scent. Enjoy, that's all you got? I'm not a fragrance reviewer. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no details. I just tell you if I like it or not. Y'all don't mind me. It's my hobby. It's what I like to do. Rather fragrance than crack. You know what I'm talking about? You who are with it, man. Till the next time, man. Shalom, man.